This episode is sponsored by Audible. Are you craving your next action-packed adventure? Why not dive into an exciting new audiobook? With Audible, they deliver thrills of all kinds, from gripping suspense to spine-tingling horror. And with over 1 million audiobooks, podcasts, and originals all in one easy app, you're bound to find something you love that will keep you on the edge of your seat. So whether you want to revisit an old story or find a brand new one, Audible has you covered. New members can try Audible now for 30 days when you visit audible.com/command or text command to 500-500.
Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
Welcome back to another episode of the Command Zone podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Weeks.
How's it, everybody? It's Josh Lee Kwai.
And we continue our discussions on Edge of Eternities today. We're in space.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this set. I'm a big sci-fi nerd and fan. In fact, the reason I haven't been on any Edge of Eternities stuff is because we've been working on a really huge project to go along with this set. More on that eventually. Not ready to talk about it yet, but there's a lot of cool cards. I know there are. I know when I'm like stoked about a set, when I have trouble figuring out at the end of these episodes what my favorite card is.
Yeah, you have a long list.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just put 3 down and I'll decide in the moment.
It's very cool. Today we're going through all of the cards that you can put in your 99 that you might be playing across from, the ones that you need to know about from the set. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Let's talk about the big bad in the set.
Oh, yeah.
It is a Planeswalker. It's Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. Mm-hmm. It's 3 generic mana.
That can't be a problem.
Yeah, geez. Can go in any deck. For a legendary Planeswalker, Tezzeret comes in with 4 loyalty, has a static ability that says whenever an artifact you control enters, put a loyalty counter on Tezzeret.
And any artifact.
Any artifact. This could be treasure and clues and stuff too.
Oh my god.
Yeah. 0 ability is untap target artifact or creature. If it's an artifact creature, put a 1/1 counter on it.
Okay.
-3 ability is search your library for an artifact card with mana value 1 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle.
Okay.
And then the ultimate, which is -7, says you get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot artifact creature. So animates inanimate things, or
just makes
creatures bigger.
Yeah, so if you only have 1 Soul Ring, you can make it a 3 and a 6 and a 9, so it'll get bigger. I don't know if you want to turn your Soul Ring into a creature, but, follow your heart.
I mean, it feels that ultimate, not to get ahead of us here.
No, go ahead.
Feels like the type of thing where, like, if you had a lot of treasure creation, you might be able to ult a couple of times and get a couple of these emblems. I mean, in a magical Christmas land world.
Right. I mean, that's definitely the thing to talk about, right? This is a triggered ability that can put a ton of loyalty counters on this Planeswalker all at once. We're in Commander. We're used to putting, like, I'll make 10 clues.
Right.
And suddenly this has 14 loyalty counters on it. You can ult it right away. How good is that? How good is the ult?
Yeah, the ult, I mean, just one emblem that does that doesn't feel that powerful, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's basically add 3 power to your board, kind of.
Every turn for the rest of the game, but
I mean, games don't go as long as they used to, so, I would be surprised if once you did that, you get that ability more than 4 or 5 times, which is like, it's good. It's 12 extra power, 15 extra power, but it's not like, doesn't feel game breaking.
But even if you have like a Darksteel Citadel to put them on and it's indestructible and you're like, I have a really big indestructible thing, but like, there's bounce spells, there's sword splashers, there's Path to Exile. Yeah, that's not super dangerous.
Yeah.
Other than this just being like, you will always have a body.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's bad. I don't think if you have the opportunity to ult it, you'd like opt not to. But the -3, I think, is really the star of the show here.
Yeah.
-3, you get to search your library for an artifact that's 1 mana or less. And this is not like Urza Saga, which says 1 mana or 0 mana exactly.
Right.
You could search for a Walking Ballista. That's an XX. You could search for a Soul Ring. You could search for an Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, Skull Clamp.
A
lot of the best artifacts are 1 cost or 0 cost.
Yeah.
So even if it's just like 3 mana, kind of find your Soul Ring, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? Like that's still pretty good. You can go find the most powerful card in the game. And all you have to do to make it so that Tezzeret doesn't immediately I guess he's going to be at 1, but like you're going to play the Soul Ring, he's going to go to 2.
Right.
And if you get any other artifact in, he's at, it's not that dangerous and it's not that crazy that he would stick around for a little while even after that.
I agree. I think a very common play pattern for this is going to be cast it, minus it, get your Soul Ring, play your Soul Ring. Now you've spent 1 mana for a Planeswalker. You have 2 cards out of it, the Planeswalker and the Soul Ring, and it's at 2 loyalty.
Yeah. And so if it dies, you're not that sad.
No. I mean, you cast a Mind Stone after that. He goes up to 3, and then next turn, you're ready to minus it again and search for a second thing.
If you get Soul Ring and then next turn, get Esper Sentinel, even if he just dies there, that's like quite good.
That's
right?
quite good. Yeah. So I do think that there's some like very real power here. It is an artifact card for sure. Yeah. You're in an artifact high density deck. Either you're making a ton of tokens or you're casting a lot of artifacts.
Yeah, you don't think it goes in just decks. It goes, you have to have like a decent amount of artifact synergy.
I agree. Yeah.
But I think also it could be in decks that are just like making a lot of like Magda or something, might just play it, right? Because it's like, oh, I cast this, I go get a good card, whether it's Soul Ring or something else, Skull Clamp, and then I attack with, make a few treasure, it goes up, and that's just good enough.
Yeah.
That like I don't need a ton of other synergy to make it good.
Yeah, I agree. I think you want a lot of artifacts entering the battlefield, but in these days that's not a super high bar to clear. We haven't talked at all about this 0 ability, which is actually a very powerful ability. It's 0 to untap an artifact or creature, right? Yeah. So if you cast this and you have like a big rock on board, you can get a functionally free Tezzeret. So if you use it to untap a Thran Dynamo or use it to untap a Gilded Lotus, now you're net 0.
Yeah, you cast this for 0 mana.
Right.
And then you tutored something probably. Or,
right.
Oh, no, yeah, you had to untap with it. So
You've untapped it. So more likely, I would think it's you minus it and you search right away to guarantee that value. But if you're like, look, I can defend it, nobody's got creatures on the board, I'm just going to cast this, untap my Thran Dynamo, cast a 3 mana creature, and then put a loyalty counter on it. Now he's up to 5. We're chilling.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the decks that run Thran Dynamo, Gilded Lotus, I think Chromatic Orrery is another one that kind of goes on that list.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
They are planning to untap those things, and that's the reason those things are in the deck. So this just becomes another untap piece. And like you said, there's just a bunch of additional upside to it. Like the first thing I thought of, because I have a Tezzeret Chain Veil, is like my CEDH deck, and this probably goes in there because it can do the untapping that you want to do. It works really well with a Chain Veil. You
can untap Chain Veil, yeah.
Yeah, and Chain Veil is really weird, but if you untap Chain Veil, activate it again, then you use it to untap Chain Veil. If you played another Planeswalker or you have another Planeswalker on board, they can now activate 3 times.
Right.
Like, that's what Teferi ends up doing, is recasting itself over and over, and every new time sees all the Chain Veil activations you've had. So, like, there's weird stuff you can do with that. So, this is quite a powerful card, but I agree, it's somewhat narrow. Maybe a little less narrow than it looks, though.
I agree, yeah. If you're making token artifacts, especially a lot of them all at once, it's going to be good. If you're casting a lot of artifacts, I think you're looking at this as well. It is, of course, a tutor that can tutor repeatedly, so it's a powerful card. So keep that in mind when you're adding it to decks. But it's definitely a good one. I think we'll see plenty of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a really important artifact that's key to your deck, or you've built your whole deck around some
Ozolith.
Yeah, exactly.
Skull Clamp,
then this is just sort of a fabricate with upside.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's not the exact same, obviously, because you can't get bigger artifacts. But if the thing you would most likely want to get, and it's key to your deck, like you said, Ozolith or something, is one, then it might, like, I always talk about how I'll just put Steel Shaper's Gift in a lot of decks that have Skull Clamp, because if I have Skull Clamp, I usually would rather have 2 Skull Clamps than,
Absolutely.
So this could kind of function in a similar way.
It's also colorless. So if you're in like a green counters deck and you really rely on Ozolith, you can go find it where green isn't usually well equipped to tutor for artifacts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let us move on to the next one.
Oh, it's a doozy.
I read this card so many times.
4 times. Like, wait.
Because I was like, there's no way it does all those things, right?
Like, one of these I'm misreading must be a downside, right?
It's Icetill Explorer. 2 green for a 2/4 creature insect scout. It says, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. You may play lands from your graveyard. And landfall, whenever a land you control enters, mill a card.
Man, that's just a lot of stuff and you want to do all of it.
That's like 2 just insanely powerful things that you're always trying to combine in lands decks. It's like, I want an exploration and I want a way to play lands from my graveyard so I can hit every single one of those land drops with a fetch land.
I think it would already be quite good with just those 2, right?
Yes.
Like, you would play it.
Yeah.
So then they just said, but no.
No, it's fine. We'll let you effectively draw cards into your graveyard that you can play out of your graveyard if they're lands.
Yeah. And also just a lot of green decks just want to have stuff in their graveyard, right? Like green is one of the recursion colors.
Yeah.
just can, with the Bolligid recoveries and the regrowth type E-Witness effects can just get stuff out of there. I don't know if it's the exact same as drawing a card, milling one card, but it's like somewhere around like
it's
half
close.
a card or something. Yeah, so imagine this said, play lands from your graveyard, play extra lands, and then draw half a card when you do that. Like, that would seem insanely broken, and that's kind of pretty close to what this is.
That's pretty close to what this is. And I mean, like, we play... So I was thinking about this. It was like, okay, this is 4 mana for both of those things. So it's like 1 mana for an exploration, 3 mana for a Crucible of Worlds-ish.
Yep.
But having those 2 things on 1 card...
It should cost a little more than it would cost either one of those cards individually, right?
To have individually.
Yeah.
Plus, there's upside for the mill thing. And like...
It's significant upside.
A significant upside.
I don't know how many times I'm building a deck, and it's like, we play Stitcher's Supplier.
Yes.
Which is actually a really good mill card, but it's like, anything that incidentally mills and does anything else for you is like really good. I was thinking
about this because I was like, okay, we play a lot of Azusa, where you get 2 extra land drops. Like Dryad of the Elysian Grove sees a lot of play, and it's not for the fix all your lands most of the time, unless you're playing like Valakut. Yeah. It's for the extra additional land drop. Yeah, it's because he's hot.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the nakedness, but also the extra land drop mostly.
But I was like, okay, so this is card advantage attached to an additional land drop. So it gives you the additional land drop and the way to find the land to play the additional land drop. So it's much closer to like an Oracle of Moldiah, but I would say it is better.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, that's the problem with extra land drop cards like Azusa Exploration is like usually after 1 rotation or 2,
you're out.
You're out of lands. And you're not getting the advantage anymore of being able to play the extra one unless you get a card draw engine going. But this has the card draw engine on it, kind of, and specifically for what it wants to do. Because like you say, all you have to do is mill a land or 2. And if one of them's, if you get 2 fetch lands going, you're done, right? Like, you just doing it. So
and you're milling a ton.
God, it's so good with the mill.
I keep thinking about this card is like...
Oh, man. With fetch land, it's play it,
mill,
fetch it, mill, fetch it, mill. So it's really... mill 4? Oh my gosh.
But it's 4 instances of mill. It's not mill 4. It's better than that.
Yeah.
So like I keep thinking about it in my Sidisi deck, which is not a lands deck, but is a graveyard deck that cares about milling, and it mills 1 card at a time. So if I hit a creature, I make another token every single time. And that's exceptionally powerful in a deck that doesn't even care about the extra land drops. It doesn't really care about...
But it'll take them.
But it'll take them.
Yeah.
And I play fetch lands, so I can play the fetch lands out of my graveyard. Like, I think this card is very open-ended and very powerful in a lot of strategies.
So that was my question, which is, okay, it's obviously, if you're playing a landfall deck, you obviously play it. And I think if you're playing a graveyard deck, you play it, and you probably start skewing towards... put in a few more fetch lands if you can. Even like Evolving Wilds type stuff, maybe you start putting in a couple of those just because you have this in your deck. So the question for me is like, does it expand even beyond that? Like, this is pretty close to like, do just green decks play this? Is it like Great Henge good or Guardian Project good? Is it in that realm of like, Rhystic Study good? It's pretty close, and it might be, honestly.
I think it's close. I mean, it lets you play an additional land, so it effectively ramps you every turn that it's in play, as long as you have the land to play it, and it gives you, like, as long as you have a high density of fetch lands, it guarantees that you have that extra one. So it's like 4 mana to rampant growth every turn if you have access to the card advantage that you need, and you have the graveyard. So, like, honestly, I could see putting it in just about any deck that plays green, and I think it will do a lot of work for you. Obviously, it gets better with synergy, but...
You don't need synergy.
It's all its own synergy. It synergizes with itself.
I kind of agree that it's in the mold of like Trouble in Pairs type of stuff where it's just like, hey, are you in that color? This card is probably one of the best 63 cards in your deck. Like, or one of the 63 cards that belong in the deck, just strictly to make it, as good as it can be. Yeah, I agree. With synergy, can be amazing, but even without, probably just deserves a spot. I mean, people don't like that type of thing. They don't like to, homogenize the format or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can make those choices, but just from the time traveling supercomputer in the sky would, if you asked it like, would this card make my deck better? Probably would. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only question it is with cards like this is how expensive is it going to be?
Yeah.
Because if it's like,
it's a rare, right? It's not Mythic.
It's a rare.
So that's
it's a rare. So it could be accessible to some extent, but like if this card is $7, I think we see it everywhere. If this card's like $25, we only see it when it's highly synergized. I think is really going to determine where it lives.
Yeah, I think a rare in a modern set with collector's boosters and play boosters, it's hard for a rare that's not standard playable.
It is. Well, I don't know if it's good enough for standard.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know anything about standard. I can't say anything. But if it's not, then I feel like it won't be in the $25 range.
Sure.
If it's going to be a 4 of in standard decks, that would probably change it in the short term. But I feel like it's probably going to be just under that, and therefore we will see it a lot.
I think so.
Yeah. It's it's Smothering Tithe-esque. It's probably like it's in that realm. Esper Sentinel, like
it draws cards and makes mana. And it draws cards is in quotes, but it gives you access to the graveyard, which draws you lands. Like it does.
It does draw cards.
Yeah,
those cards will be lands, which will then ramp you. But then also those cards will not be lands, and you're in green, so you'll just regrow them out of your graveyard, and those will be cards you kind of drew too in a tutory sort of way. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pick this card up, I would keep an eye on the pre-order price. You can support the show if you're enjoying what you're seeing by going to cardkingdom.com/command, and you can check out where this card is going for and what the other cards we're going to talk about in this episode. We trust Card Kingdom when we're shopping. They do really nice things for us. We can buy a ton of cards in one place, and when they package them, I know that when I order a ton of cards, all those cards are going to arrive safely, professionally, on time, and not soaking wet or bent from the mail.
It's a big thing.
I order a lot of cards, believe it or not, and I really like being able to trust that the cardboard that I order to fly across the country is going to show up in the condition and in the version and safely that I ordered it. Okay, we're doing
the safely that
I ordered it. You guys know what I mean. We're going to talk about a lot of cards today from the new set. If you want to order them all in one place, and you can support the show by going to cardkingdom.com/command.
And then, of course, once you get that stuff, you want to keep it protected once it's in your hands. We know Card Kingdom is going to protect it, getting it to your hands, and then
now
once you open it up, it's your job. And I like to pawn that job off on Ultra Pro because they're really good at it. So ultrapro.com/command is the best place to go to get your game accessories. They've got playmats, deck boxes, sleeves, wall scrolls, dice, everything you need to make your battlefield look awesome and to protect your game pieces. Ultra Pro has it. They're the company that we trust our own collections to here at the Command Zone, and they have also all of the stuff. They have the licensing agreement with Wizards of the Coast, so they have the official artwork on the sleeves, on the playmats, on the deck boxes. And if you're a sci-fi nerd like I am, and you're really excited about the aesthetic of this particular set, then, if you want one of those cool new planets or something on stuff, they've probably got that kind of thing. And then also, if Edge of Eternity is not your thing, but you like Final Fantasy, well, they had those sweet foil Final Fantasy.
Gosh, those were insane.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to get my hands on one because they run out. They sell out constantly.
Yeah.
But the foil deck boxes and playmats from Final Fantasy were gorgeous and beautiful. Ultra Pro just makes really good stuff. So again, ultrapro.com/command.
You can also support us by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/commandzone. All of our patrons get access to game nights, extra turns a day early without ads. Plus, you get to hang out in our community and talk about Magic, and the new Edge of Eternity precons are really cool, and we have channels specifically dedicated to talking about those, how people are building them, how they're upgrading them. There's a lot of Magic chatter. So if you want to be talking about Magic all the time, get on Discord, come hang out with us. Plus, we shout out one lucky patron every single podcast episode, and this one is dedicated to Derek Blodgett. Derek, you rock.
You definitely rock, Derek. Thank you.
Okay,
right,
more cards.
There's a bunch more to talk about.
So these next three that we're going to talk about are in sort of like 3/5 of a cycle. If this is a full cycle, I don't know what the other two are. These are the three we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so there's a new mechanic called Warp.
Yes.
So let's talk about that first really quickly.
Yes.
Because there's 3 cards, one in white, one in green, one in blue, that have Warp and share sort of a doubling capability.
Yeah.
So Warp, do you want to read it?
It is an alternate casting cost, and it says, you may cast this card from your hand for its Warp cost. Exile this creature at the beginning of the next end step, then you may cast it from exile on a later turn. So the way I've been thinking about this is it's fancy Evoke.
Yeah, Evoke is a really good comparison.
Evoke Foretell.
For Evoke.
For Evoke. So you can cast it for cheaper. It enters the battlefield. You get whatever ability it has for that turn. And then it exiles itself on your end step, and you store it in exile safely where you can cast it later.
Yeah, in some ways better than Evoke because it does have its own recast mechanic on it, whereas Evoke you would have to reanimate on your own somehow.
Right. Doesn't get that dies trigger, which is sometimes good with Evoke, but it does have all of the same like tricks and synergies around Evoke. It's very good with Blink, for example.
Yeah, if you blink the creature, then all of a sudden it goes away, comes back, doesn't remember that you warped it, and just is there now as a normal creature.
Right.
Yeah. That's quite good, but it does mean that whatever effect these creatures have, you can kind of get it for one turn for cheap, and that's kind of the base level if you don't do any trickeration.
Right. I want to mention, because some people were confused with this, it doesn't give it haste. So you don't get to attack with it right away. There are some warp creatures that do have haste, but incidentally, they have summoning sickness. You get them for the turn and they are gone.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Evoke does not have haste either, so...
Yes. But people were like, well, I keep them, so I have to attack with them. And you're like, no.
You can't, yeah.
You don't get it all.
You basically get this ability as a static ability for the one turn, and that's why the warp cost is low. So let's talk about the white one first, which is Exalted Sunborn. It's 3 white for a 4/5 flying lifelink angel wizard. It has a warp cost of 1 and a white. And it says, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So it's a classic token doubler. We've seen this a bunch of times. But the warp kind of makes it interesting in that if you're going to make a bunch of tokens on a turn and you can add 2 mana to whatever you're going to do, you can cast this first and then go off. Right. And it's a lot harder to see it coming and a lot less mana than getting Anointed Procession out that same turn.
Right. We've talked a lot on this channel about how it's often like, I don't think Parallel Lives and Anointed Procession are worth the price because they're so expensive and you have to like cast them and then have something else to happen. This is half the cost of that for one turn, which is mostly like what you get to do anyway.
Right. And it's only 1 more mana than Anointed Procession if you just cast it.
If you just cast a regular style.
And just play it like Anointed Procession, yeah. Which leads me to believe it's a Mythic that it will probably, in price-wise, be close to the other ones anyway.
This will be a $45 card. All of them are $45. All of them. Yeah. Anointed Procession, Mondrak, the O'Hare Talk is the cheapest, but it's also 6 mana.
Yeah. This has a 2 mana version and a 5 mana version on the same card.
Yeah.
How do you compare it to like Anointed Procession and Mondrak?
I think it's closest to Mondrak because it's on a creature is a big thing. It can't protect itself like Mondrak does, but it kind of does because you cast it and then it's like safe in exile. Nobody can interact with it until you cast it later.
Yeah.
For me, I like it much better because it's an angel that can attack, that can block. It has lifelink. This thing is a beater just on its own.
It is a 4/5 flying lifelink for 5 mana with 2 other upsides on it.
So obviously, I like it better. Also, angels are good, wizards are good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like about this card without even talking about the doubler side of it. And the fact that you can pay 2 and then like do the thing that your commander's doing, pay whatever mana you need to make the tokens, makes me like it a lot more than most doublers.
Yeah, I think I would put it a little... Boy, it's close. Mondrak's got a bunch of upside, too.
It's one cheaper, and it protects itself.
It protects itself, but I would put it just like right on the same level as Mondrak. And Anointed Procession has upside as well in that it's an enchantment, a lot harder to kill. It is not a creature. I don't tend to care about the creature part as much, but like then Rachel kills me because her thing's can attack and mine can't. So, yeah, there's...
You're like, wait, shoot.
I acknowledge the downsides of my viewpoint.
The other thing I wanted to mention, it's not legendary.
Yeah, I noticed that right away. And there will be some, if you could make a token copy of it, then all of a sudden... it's going to start to go nuts. And there's a card later that you could, from this set that would work really well with that. The fact that none of these are legendary actually... is a little bit of a thing and makes them more powerful for sure. Mondrak is legendary, so you can't make a token copy of it and sort of start to go off. But a token copy of Exalted Sunborn will snowball really fast.
Right. You can also reanimate it and flicker it, and like there's a lot of benefits to it being a creature. It's easier to tutor for in most colors.
White's one of the blink colors.
I'm inclined to say I think this is better than Mondrak.
You think it's better than Anointed Procession?
Yes.
Wow. So it's the default.
I think so. I think it is. I think it's definitely better.
I think that would make it the best white token doubler.
I think so. I think it's much better than O'Hare Talk and the Elspeth. Well, though Elspeth is good and has like other things it can do.
Those are all in the mix. I think O'Hare Talk is a little on the outside. 6
I think that's on the
just
bottom.
A lot.
Yeah.
And tripling is not that much better than doubling, as it turns out. Like, if you're doubling and you're doing that, you're winning.
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's hard.
It's very close to Mondrak.
I don't think that's
very close to Mondrak.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. I would just put it in a dead tie with Mondrak and a little bit above Annoying Procession, like half a point.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if in 6 months I'm like, no, it's better.
Yeah.
It definitely could be. It feels close.
The fact that you can do it so early, like you can do this on turn 4 and pay 2 and make 4 like tokens is just like
yeah. I mean, it's
very
good,
explosive.
but like how many, what are you doing? Playing Raise the Alarm with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, but
4 mana, 4 tokens.
Yeah. But you did, like that seems okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
more
really
worried about
good.
turn 8 with whatever you've got.
It's really good, I think.
All right, let's talk about the next sort of warp doubler, let's call it.
Yeah.
And this is the green one. It's called Loading Zone.
Don't park here.
Don't. You're going to get a ticket. It's 3 and a green for an enchantment. It says, if one or more counters would be put on a creature, spacecraft, or planet you control, twice that many of each of those kinds of counters are put on it instead. And it has a warp cost of just green.
Just green.
Just green.
So this is like a branching evolution that cares about more than +1/+1 counters.
Yep.
Is sort of the easiest way to think about it. It's 1 more mana, but you can also cast it for just a green.
Yep.
So it can make for very, very explosive turns. It sort of reminds me of the you should be doing a little bit more than this, but do you remember the Rhino from Railway? I think it's from OTJ. That when you cast it, every creature enters with counters that double its power.
Oh, yeah.
That it sort of reminds me of that thing where it's like you set up for like one really big turn where all your stuff is really big all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And that sort of feels like this, where you pay a green and you're like, all right, I cast 3 things, they all enter with 9 counters on it, and next turn I'm going to be a real freaking problem.
Yeah. Or even this turn if you had a couple things out.
They can put counters on it right away, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought was like, this one feels even more that you're going to sandbag it in your hand.
Yeah.
You're not, and wait, because 1 green is so little of an extra cost to add on to your sort of turn that you're going off that just hiding that information from everybody is going to be worth it. And it's just like, okay, I start by doing that. When anybody warps this out, hold on, strap in. It's going to be bad because they are waiting for that moment. Because there was no real reason earlier to just get 2 extra counters out of this thing for 1 mana. You might as well just hold it in your hand and then get a turn where like, no, this is going to give you 50 extra counters or whatever. You're like, this is my Ozolith turn. Everything got set up. I'm untapping. It didn't look that bad. I start by warping this thing. It suddenly looks really bad.
You're like, okay, I think we might be dead.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, we can survive 1 turn of whatever's about to happen. Warp in this thing. No, we can't. No, we're dead.
Whatever's happening is happening, and it is bad. It's like, I feel like it's particularly good. Obviously, if you're putting a lot of counters all at once, doubling is better when you're putting on like 4 rather than 1.
Yep.
So I think keeping that in mind is worth doing. But it's really good with like Hydras. It's good with Fractals. Like anything that enters with a certain amount of counters, it's twice as big. I think of like the Ooze against the Humanity.
Ooze against Humanity.
Is that it? Is that what it's called?
Slimes Against Humanity.
Slimes Against Humanity. I was like, Ooze
like
Against
crimes.
Humanity is not a joke.
It makes oozes. Yeah.
It's like
There's no pun there, though.
There's no pun there.
That can't be it. That's bad copy.
Slime Against Humanity. Like if they cast this in a Slimes deck, you're like, go!
Oh boy, it's gonna be bad. Yeah, yeah. There's some upside. It's an enchantment, right? So it's much harder to get rid of. And it's only 4 to recast it.
Right.
So I think in a Slimes deck, you maybe do kind of do it early, leave it in exile, and it's just sitting there, waiting for like a really bad turn for you later.
Also, it lives in exile, so it makes your oozes bigger.
Yeah, that's a good. That's
Synergy.
It is harder to blink being an enchantment.
Sure.
And green's not a blink color, so less tricks you can pull with the sort of warpiness of it, which, may not be a downside. I just expect that, like, if you are a counters, a 1/1 counters for sure, but a counters themed deck, we're probably just going to see this in the way that we see Hardened Scales or something. This feels like it just will be good enough to make the cut in those type of decks.
Right. It reminds me of Branching Evolution, but it's more explosive. So I think that's the way I'm thinking about it. It also has upside for like indestructible counters and that kind of thing, which feels a little less relevant if you're doubling it, but I don't know what kind of counters they're going to come up with next.
We already have charge counters on all the spacecraft and stuff
now.
Charge
counters,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. So this could be anything, and long term, I think it'll be very powerful.
It could even be a boat.
Could even be a boat.
All right. Now to no one's surprised, the one I think is the best one.
Very good.
It's the blue one.
It's the blue one, Starfield Vocalist. 3 and a blue for a 3/4 human bard. 4 mana, 3/4 blue. We're getting beefy in blue.
I know. What's going on?
If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, say it with me, that ability triggers an additional time.
Yep.
Warp for 1 and a blue. That's right. This is Elesh Norn, Mother of Machines. This is a Panharmonicon that cares about any permanent. This is the Virtue of Knowledge that they printed in Wilds of Eldraine. It's good.
It's good. I think it's better for a couple of even better for a couple of reasons. One is it's 4 mana on the front end, which is the going cost for those other things.
Right.
Whereas like if you look at
all those other ones are 5.
It's
cheaper.
Panharmonicon's 4. But if you look at like Exalted Sunborn, it's 1 mana more than its contemporaries Mondrak and Anointed Procession.
Right.
Whereas Starfield is just the going cost for the thing, right? Then it just also has this warp thing, and blue is the blink color. And what do you want to be doing when you're blinking stuff? Oh, getting ETBs.
Yep.
Yeah, so this synergizes with, like, you just automatically know what decks this goes in, because the decks, you don't have to make any changes to the deck. You just have to find the worst card in that deck, put this in place of it, and your deck just gets better. Because if you're blinking stuff, this card's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 mana, blink this, blink something else, double the ETBs. I mean, it's pretty bonkers. And it just goes in a ton of decks. I mean, my typical warning for this thing is don't combine it with bounce lands. You will return 2 lands to your hand. Pay attention to your mana bases, people. But outside of that, you can clone this. It's not legendary. You can blink it. It's for 2 mana. It's Yarick, but 1 color and 1 less, and
has a cheaper way to get it out.
Has a cheaper way to get it into the battlefield. Yeah, it's really hard to see a downside.
Yeah, I don't see any downsides. I only see upsides. It's really good with all the cheap clones that Blue has. Dance of Many, Phantasmal Image, Imposter Mech.
Well, the reason I said Dance of Many is an ETB trigger.
Yeah, so you
get 2 clones of it when it enters. You do have to pay an upkeep to keep them around, but you have a really big turn.
It's a nice way to just kind of get tricky, where it's like, hey, I warp this in, clone it, it goes into exile. That sucks for your opponent, because I kill that thing, and then they just cast the thing out of exile, and they still have it.
Yep.
Because that's what you have to do against Panharmonicon effects, is like get those off the table.
Oh, that's 4 mana.
Yeah.
So it's 4 mana to put this into play, to clone it. You have 3 this turn.
Yeah.
And that's 4. So they have something else to follow it up with. You're like, okay, like Wall of Omens, draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you spent 6 mana, you've drawn 3 cards, and you have 3 copies of this thing.
And then 1 goes into exile, and even if you kill the
it's
2...
not even draw 3 cards, it's draw 4 cards. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, because each one draws 2. Oh, geez. Yeah, and then even if they like take care of it, you're like, cool, cast this thing out of exile. Like, they're like, board wipe. Okay.
Yeah.
Cast this thing out of exile. Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, it's this is a very powerful card.
I was thinking in like my Nico deck.
Ew.
Because if you turn like 6 shards into this thing.
Yeah.
Warp it in.
Yeah. Exile
it. So it's going to come back for good. But you turn your 6 shards into this and then cast anything.
Right. Yeah.
Like.
You're in white and blue, so you probably can't like end the game, but you can draw like 15 cards.
Yeah,
like,
or it's
at least.
white. Maybe you got like an ETB destroyer. You destroy every artifact that's out there or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, just like a Skyclave apparition.
Yeah.
You're like, exile that and that and that and that and that. And like, if this leaves, you're going to get some things, but who cares?
Well, and plus, like you said, it's a 3/4. Then you're just like, cool. And then attack for 18.
Yeah.
So it's not like a 1/4, which it probably should be.
Yeah, this card's a very real enhancer.
Yeah. Yeah. And very easy to figure out where it goes. Like I said, I think if you are blinking things and that is even a secondary theme of your deck, then you look at this card. And if it's the main theme of your deck, this card's going in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Another Josh card. I love this one,
card. This is I know people find it boring, but I just feel so good when I have cards like this in my hand.
Yeah.
It is Consult the Star Charts. It's 1 in a blue for an instant. You already know I like it. It has kicker 1 in a blue, so you may pay an additional 1 in a blue as you cast this spell. It says, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands you control. Put 1 of those cards into your hand. If the spell was kicked, put 2 of those cards into your hand instead. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Okay. So funny. I'm so Californian. I look at this and I'm like, such an Aquarius. like I just immediately go right to astrology. This card's great. I'm a big fan of Pillage the Bog, which it got printed. That was also OTJ. It was Thunder Junction, which cares about the number of lands you control. And I always feel like Pillage the Bog overperforms. So I'm very curious about Consult the Star Chart. Oh, it's worth Pillage the Bog is twice the number of lands.
But this has a kicker.
The kicker that you can get two of them for at instant speed.
Yeah, it becomes Dig Through Time.
Yeah.
But Dig Through Time with a mode that doesn't require a lot of stuff in your graveyard and, can also just be very good. Like, it starts to get near a tutor once you're like 7-8 lands, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just looking at a lot of cards and picking the best one out of it.
And I mean, once we start comparing things to Dig Through Time, we know it's a very powerful card.
Yeah.
Like that's a great place to start. The fact that it also has like an impulse mode that's like, okay, something bad is happening. I have to fire this off. I'm going to I only have the mana to cast it for 2, but I can look at the top 7 cards in my library and try and find an answer right now. In the kind of decks that want that, that's an incredibly powerful card. And then if you're holding up a counterspell and you don't need it, you're like, oh, I'll kick it for 4 and draw 2 cards.
Yeah, that's why I love cards like this, is they fill in the gaps for those times where we always talk about this is great to have as a possible answer, but you need the alternative for when you don't need to answer anything. And that's the power of instant speed. Is that flexibility, the modality of I could do X, but only if something bad happens. And if it doesn't, then I'll do Y. And this can be the Y part of that equation.
Right.
And the fact that sometimes it's card advantage, but at the very least it's great card selection. You're often just looking for efficiency on rate, and 2 mana for what you get here. As long as I think you're at 4 or 5 lands, is pretty good. Because Impulse is a great card that I play all the time. And you just feel safe when you have these cards. Even if you don't have the answer in your hand, I have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And I can respond to things. And I can wait till stuff happens, see what it is, and then make my moves without guessing or predicting. I saw what happened. Now I know I need this, and I can at least go look for it. So now when I'm looking at my top 7 cards or whatever, I'm making a decision based on what I see, which is very powerful. And again, it starts to approach tutor status the more cards you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, you get to points in the game where you're like, oh, we need a board wipe right now. And what better than a card that looks at the top 6 and tries to find a board wipe when you untap? I think I really undervalued Stock Up as a commander card when it was printed, and Stock Up has made its way. It's in legacy decks.
Yeah.
So this kind of effect is exceptionally powerful, looks at a ton of cards, and the fact that it's an instant really makes it perfect in Commander and exactly what you want. So I think it's definitely a control card. I think it's definitely an instant speed card. If you're not playing Impulse, you're probably not playing this, but you also probably should be playing Impulse. It looks at the top 4 cards and gives you the perfect one. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I guess the downside we didn't talk about is it's not as good in the early game. Impulse is perfectly fine on turn 2. This is not great on turn 2.
Yeah, although I think I'm still happy to fire it off as just I need to hit my land drop.
Sure.
I'm going to hopefully there'll be one in my top 2, but if not, then I'm going to dig past the top 2 and get closer to a land one way or another. It's an emergency, but one of the reasons I think if you watch gameplay videos where I rarely miss land drops is because I like cards like this. And they just do allow you to scramble and hit land drops, which I always say, but I do believe is one of the easiest ways to lose Commander games is just miss a land drop early, just one.
Yep.
You miss your 3rd or 4th land drop, it's just your win percentage goes down by 50%.
Yeah, you better disappear at that table because you better be so quiet. All right, the next card we're going to talk about is Elegy Acolyte. It's 2 black for a 4/4 creature human cleric with lifelink. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose 1 life. It's Coastal Piracy-ish, but it's in black. And it has Void. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or a spell was warped this turn.
Okay.
I don't know why they included that. A thing would leave the battlefield if it's warped. Anyway.
Probably for limited.
Anyway. Create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. So, Void is a keyworded ability from this set. Cares about if anything left, doesn't have to be a token as long as it's not a fetch land. So this says if you cracked a treasure, make a robot on your end step, which is pretty good attached to a coastal piracy type effect. Especially in black, there's not a ton of redundancy for this kind of effect. Gix, Yawgmoth Praetor is sort of the most relied on version of this. Whenever you hit, you pay a life, you draw that many. Of course, Elegy Acolyte, is it a May? No. If you hit, you must draw, and you will lose a ton of life this way. I think specifically I wanted to talk about this card because a lot of the way that they're designing black commanders are built around hitting your opponents, stealing their stuff, and making treasure tokens is a very common legendary pattern that they've built for the last couple of years. Like a Rev Tithe Extractor or Gonti Knight Minister. All of these are like, you make treasures for however many things you hit. And Elegy goes very well in that style of deck. If you're running a Bitter Blossom or the 1-mana 1/1 flyers that just get in for damage and need the cards to fuel the mana that you're making. So I think there'll be plenty of ways to play this, and it goes very well with like those treasure strategies specifically.
Yeah, I didn't love this one as much just because I feel like the two abilities are kind of a little bit opposed in that a lot of decks that want the extra bodies when they sack things, which is probably the most likely way you're going to get the robot, aren't generally that great at attacking and
like
dealing
an
the combat.
deck.
Yeah, aristocrats are not. So it's like, I would sort of want the 2/2, although I can only make one per rotation, which is kind of a downside. I wish it wasn't your end step.
Sure.
If it made 1/1 flyers and all of a sudden those become the things that can be hitting your opponents, I think I would feel a little bit differently. But my worry is that I'll be able to use one side of this card and not the other.
Fair.
And then the decks that are good at combat damage probably don't care as much about getting the extra 2/2 and aren't as able to get it. And then it's like, I don't know if I want to play 4 mana for a 4/4 that is a Coastal Piracy, basically. I think, I would rather draw cards in other ways in black. I mean, it's going to do stuff. I think it's going to be good. And if you run it for just one of those things, I think it will give you one of those things. So it's not that it's going to be bad exactly, but I would like to think I could maybe find a better thing or at a better rate.
Yeah. It does two things. Whether you can make those two things work together is up to you.
Yeah, if you have a deck that definitely wants both sides, then I think it becomes very good.
Right, yeah.
Because now you're getting a lot for your 4 mana. You're getting that card draw. You're getting those extra bodies.
The fact that they're artifacts, I think, does make them work very well in these treasure decks because they will play stuff like the 1-mana black creature that whenever an artifact goes to the graveyard, you deal 1 damage to any target. So you have this like artifact synergy stuff going on.
But it's got to be combat damage to draw, right? Or is it just...
No,
it's deal combat damage.
Deals combat damage. But I'm talking about like a deck that's designed around dealing combat damage already will care about them being artifact bodies that enter. Like those decks are often built around artifactocrat type stuff.
Yeah, Tchotchke.
Yeah. So
you
having
used your term and I used your, or you used mine and I used yours.
I know.
That's weird. Yeah.
Well, we haven't decided. Yeah, if you're doing like a Tchotchke style deck, but you're already built around like 1/1 flyer type stuff, I do think this has added synergy. So
yeah, I think if you're definitely like I can get in there for combat damage and I do like to sack things, then this becomes really good.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about the next. Oh, no, we're not talking about the next one, but I was excited about it. But we're going to have to wait, though, because first we're going to hear a quick message from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hail, fellow thrill seekers! It is I, White Plume Adventurer, explorer of dungeons and breaker of formats. Recently, I've discovered a way to venture without needing to bring extra Undercity tokens for the whole table. Audible! Audible is your secret entrance to whole new worlds of fantasy, adventure, horror, and more. Get ready to forge a relationship with your new favorite story among the vast arena of literature as you draw from Audible's massive archive of audiobooks. And then, I guess, ascend to the throne of the Dead 3. Okay, the last Undercity room is hard, but you get it! I just completed Dungeon Crawler Carl, a thrilling romp that had me fully enthralled from the first word. Plus, Audible has over 1 million audiobooks, podcasts, and originals, including new releases. So take the initiative and try Audible today!
Start listening and discover what's beyond the edge of your seat. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days and dive into a world of new thrills.
Visit audible.com/command or text command to 500-500. That's audible.com/command or text command to 500-500.
Hark! You face me, Brawlin, Sky Shark Rider. When I enter battle, I'm proud to partner with the Sharp-Toothed Shabraz. But when I was starting my own business, well, let's just say sharks are better at combat than commerce. With my growing to-do list trampling my free time, I needed someone new to partner with. That's when I found Shopify, the perfect business partner to get your idea off the ground and into the sky. Shopify's ready-to-use templates and powerful tools help me build an online store in no time. Their marketing platform makes it easy to ping potential customers with email or social media campaigns. And once you start making sales, Shopify manages everything from inventory to returns. That's why Shopify is the platform behind 10% of e-commerce in the US, including brands like The Command Zone and Gymshark. Wait, Gymshark? Sounds like Shabraz has competition in combat as well.
Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/TCZ. Go to shopify.com/TCZ. Again, shopify.com/TCZ. Ugh, my eye has been bothering me all week. I don't know what to do.
See a doctor?
Okay, I'll just magically find a doctor. Look, if this was an issue with one of my deck lists, I would just go online and see what's recommended. With medical issues, I'm lost. If only there was like a Scryfall for doctors.
Well, you're in luck. There kind of is. You should just do what I do and use ZOCDOC. ZOCDOC is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. They've got over 100,000 doctors across every specialty. That's more doctors than Magic cards.
What?
Yeah, mental health, dental, primary care, urgent care, they've got it all.
But how do you know if they'll synergize with my insurance?
Well, first of all, no one says it that way, but ZOCDOC can filter by insurance provider, location, or even by verified patient rating. Then once you've found the perfect doctor for you, ZOCDOC lets you see their actual appointment openings and instantly book a visit, often on the same day.
Wow, with ZOCDOC, finding a doctor might actually be easier than building a commander deck?
I mean, building a commander deck is kind of hard.
Is it?
For some of us, Rachel, yes, it is. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/command to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/command, ZocDoc.com/command.
Yes! I win! Probably. Anyway.
Probably. What's going on?
I just goldfished a huge turn on ARCHIDEKT. Check it out, they've got the best playtester in the business. Playing and tapping your cards is as simple as clicking them. Everything goes right where you want it, but you can drag things by hand and group them together in different ways too. Then there's easy shortcut keys for things like making copies, sending cards between zones, and starting the next turn.
Nice, so this is a Traxo. All that proliferating's gotta take a while.
It doesn't actually. Just right click and hit proliferate all counters.
Oh wow, yeah, you probably do win.
I think so.
ARCHIDEKT is the best place to browse, brew, and playtest commander decks. Just go to archidekt.com/commandzone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/commandzone.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about cards from Edge of Eternities, and we're going to jump back into it with a very powerful one that's from the World Shaper Precon.
Yeah, our first spacecraft on this episode. We've talked about spacecraft on other episodes for Edge of Eternities, but I wasn't on those. So spaceship, yay. All right, it's Exploration Broodship. It's 1 green and it has the word exploration in it.
What could it do?
It's an artifact spacecraft. It has station, which means you can tap another creature you control to put a charge counter or to put charge counters equal to its power on the spacecraft. So if you tap a 2/2, you'll put 2 charge counters on this thing. Station only as a sorcery.
Important.
Yep. It's an artifact creature at 8+ charge counters. All right. But it has 2 abilities. So at 3+ charge counters, it says you may play an additional land on each of your turns.
What?
Oh, exploration. And then at 8+, it gains flying, becomes a 4/4, and says once during each of your turns, you may cast a permanent spell from your graveyard by sacrificing a land in addition to paying its other costs.
Ooh-wee.
So
Okay.
a couple things we should say about spacecraft, just since we're talking about them for the first time in this episode, is you can overstation. So
Yes.
you can continue to station once it's got 8. You can go up to 50 if you want to.
Keep going, yeah.
Yeah, that can matter if things care about the number of counters on stuff. If
Tapping
you've got a
things.
Felisa or something out, that would be really good. And then, yeah, it is a way to get your things tapped if you care about that.
Right.
So sort of like similar to vehicles, not the exact same.
Yeah. It's like somewhere between vehicles and level up.
Yeah.
Is
It
the-
actually looks like a level up card, but it has, it has a station.
So let's talk about the exploration side of this
Sure.
thing first, and then we can talk about that second ability, which I do think is quite powerful. As an exploration, this only works if you have 3 power in play. So
And you were willing to tap that 3 power.
two station at sorcery speed opens you up for a little bit more attacks. That is a huge downside in Commander of Station, is that you have to tap it on your turn. So there's a very real cost. But the main thing I want to talk about is like exploration's great on turn 1, where you can play land, exploration, land. It does not serve that function. You really can't get an extra land out of this until what? Turn 3, maybe?
Yeah, 3 is probably realistically the earliest.
Right.
Yeah. Because even if you play like a Ragavan turn 1, that's only 2. You'd have to play this on turn 2, station it.
Right.
Then it's
And you've tapped your Ragavan,
which
is
you
brutal.
don't want to do.
Yeah.
You would never do this, but that like what are the play patterns you can think of? Deathrite Shaman? Nope.
Yeah.
It's still turn 3. It's not even turn 3 guaranteed. It's just a maybe. Yeah. So I'd say turn 3 at the earliest, which is not great for your exploration. It just... The whole caveat with I think is going to be with this is if you're a landfall deck, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because you're already built to just get a lot of lands into, you're going to have more lands in your deck in general. You're going to be finding them, playing them out of your graveyard. You're going to have access to more lands. So, but your average deck is just not going to have a lot of lands left to play by turn 3. It will have played most of them. And unless you've got some sort of crazy card draw engine already set up, you just won't have a surplus. Maybe you get one extra out. But it's,
I would say I would only put this in landfall decks that need the redundancy of the additional land per turn and will benefit from having additional land drops in the middle to late game when it is more comfortable to station this.
I think I would also even amend that further to say, and also have a commander that has 3 power that comes out at least in the first 3 turns.
Sure.
Just so I guarantee.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's dead for like a while.
Yeah, because otherwise it's too easy to play a bunch of ramp things, and nothing happened, and it's turn 4, and this thing's just sitting there, and it's like almost any other card I would rather have had than this.
Yeah. Usually ramp decks like this don't play a lot of creatures early as well,
Exactly.
is the thing that I keep thinking about. Like, Lotus Cobra is sort of the best option, I think.
But you don't draw it every game.
But yeah, you don't draw, and if you have Lotus Cobra, you're like, good. So...
Yeah, you're right. They're Far-Seeking Rampant Growth thing. They've got a bunch of those type of cards that they're setting up early.
Your first few turns are not usually creature-based, and then you play, like, usually a 4 mana thing or, like, some sort of 4 to 5 mana thing on turn 3 or 4, and that's when you feel, you're like, okay, now I'm stable.
Plans
and
online.
Now this thing, but now you have to, like, you spend 3 turns without creatures in play, now you have to tap the one creature you have in play to get your exploration to turn on, which doesn't feel great. So I think in the middle of the late game, this feels great. And in the early game, I think this is just, you're going to be frustrated with this card.
Yeah, so then I guess we have to talk about that last ability,
I agree.
which allows you to, play things out of your graveyard.
Permanents, right?
Yeah, permanents only by sacrificing lands. And I think this is the other reason this can only go in landfall decks, because your deck that's not a landfall deck.
You cannot play a land. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a permanent spell from your graveyard by sacrificing a land. Yeah.
Which you have to sack a land to do it, which makes sense. But the only decks that realistically are willing to sacrifice lands to do this, not that you would never do it in other decks, but like regularly are landfall decks, because they have enough additional land drops to be like, yeah, I can sack one, play 2, I'm still up 1.
Right.
But most decks, you're going to lose a lot of games if you're like, well, I'll sack one of my 7 lands to cast this spell, but then I'm just down a land.
Right.
And if I didn't win the game there, like I will just slowly lose from here on out by doing this.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's another indicator, because that's the only thing that I think evens out the sort of downside of the front side. So yeah, to me, this is just all signs point to landfall decks, maybe, not even like guaranteed.
Yeah. Not
landfall deck, I'm not even thinking about it.
I agree. And even then, it's probably my 4th exploration down, 5th maybe. Like now with Icetill, it's like exploration, burgeoning, I like Dryad. Yep. Azusa's fine, but I would play Moldiah before that.
Sure. Wayward Swordtooth.
I think I'd play this above Swordtooth. It's
close.
great with Swordtooth.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true.
It's good with Swordtooth.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is like this is middle tier extra additional land drops. And the second effect can be good in the right moment, but it asks a lot of you.
Yeah. The play spells later is a thing, though.
I agree.
I think... And it shores up one of the weaknesses of landfall decks, which is this propensity to spin wheels and not do much. So just having options for more stuff to do is kind of good, I think, in general for those decks. So,
if you're at 8 and you sack a land to cast a Crucible, you play 2 lands out of your graveyard, like that feels very good.
Yeah, now you're sacking the lands, you get to play them, and when you do that, you're getting extra spells.
Right. So
if you have it with the Icetill, what was that?
Icetill Explorer, Icetill Bug.
It's milling you when you do it, but that's more of a commentary on how good the
Icetill Explorer,
is than it is on how good the spaceship is. Yeah,
I agree. There's going to be spots for it where it feels really good. I think there's also going to be a lot of spots where you're like screaming at it in your hand.
It just doesn't do anything. I just can't get this to where I want it to. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on. I think this next card's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool.
This is Faller's Faithful. 2 and a black for a 3/1 creature human wizard. When this creature enters, destroy up to 1 other target creature. If that creature wasn't dealt damage this turn, its controller draws 2 cards. A lot of things to pick through. So this is ETB destroy a creature.
Yeah, it's a 1/8/7 creature, a classic Ravenous Chupacabra.
It's a Chupacabra with a little bit of upside and a little bit of downside. So, like, this can come in and destroy an opponent's creature and they draw 2 cards for the trouble. Or this could come in and destroy one of your own creatures and you draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So this is ETB, like, this is ETB Village Rites-ish, but also it's an emergency Ravenous Chupacabra. So it's got a lot of flexibility. I like it in specifically, like, graveyard sacky decks. That's going to play, like, Grave Crawlers and Bloodghasts and that kind of thing, where you have free creatures that you can kill and just bring back to the battlefield.
Yeah, probably Aristocracy decks as well.
I agree,
Yeah, it's also sort of similar to, like, let's say Merciless Executioner in a way, in that it's got a similar cost. It's going to get something off the battlefield maybe, but, like, this has the upside of, like, oh, sometimes I use it as a card draw spell.
Right.
I don't think you really want to play this unless you know I will usually have the opportunity to kill my own thing to draw 2 cards.
Right.
If your deck doesn't generally have expendable things to do that, then you probably don't want this.
Yeah.
But if you do, then it all of a sudden, because there's plenty of points in games where you're willing to give somebody 2 cards because the thing you're killing is so bad.
Right.
And don't be scared to fire it off in that case, because, like, the bad thing that you can see is not as bad as the 2 cards they're going to draw. And a lot of times these days, the bad thing just will win. So I'll give you the chance that you don't win versus the absolute positive you're going to win. So
Yeah. Also, killing Icetill Explorer kills both an exploration and a Crucible of Worlds. So it's basically
2 cards.
2 cards. Yeah, I think this card's really neat. I think it deserves a second look, even though it's a little uncommon. Moving on.
All right, the next
More
one,
bugs.
Yeah, is Genemorph Imago.
Sure.
Okay, it's a green and a blue for a 1/3 flyer. It's an insect druid. It has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, target creature has base power and toughness 3/3 until end of turn. If you control 6 or more lands, that creature has base power and toughness 6/6 until end of turn instead.
Yeah.
So landfall make a creature bigger, and the later the game goes, it makes it even bigger than that.
Right. And itself, it's a perfect target for it because it's a flyer.
Yeah, so once later in the game, it's going to hit for 6 in the air.
Yeah. I, like, by turn
It's
6.
a very Rachel card.
Oh, I love this card. There's so many reasons to like this card. 2-mana flyer. Immediately good.
Yep.
I like that this can mess with any combat. It's like Octavia. You can target any creature on the board. So if you have a fetch land or something, you can do it at instant speed. You can crack a fetch.
So annoying.
And make your blocker a 6/6 and kill the attacker. You can make the attacker a 6/6.
Fetch lands become combat tricks.
Yeah, that's
it's brutal. For anybody. You could use it for anybody. It's brutal, yeah.
It's so annoying. Be like, do you want to attack?
The whole time, it's like, all right, if I block, are you going to do that?
Yeah. It's so funny. I don't think it's that hard to make this thing a 2-mana 6/6 flyer, like, which is an enormous beater that is a win con in the late game when you can get a ton of lands into play, you can turn your rampant growths into threats in the late game. I think this card's really funny and really cool.
Yeah, you wrote down Splendid Reclamation or Scape Shift, which turns this into actually like legitimately game-ending as a sort of overrun type effect later in the game. If you can get like 10 lands into play in one turn, all of a sudden it's like, oh.
All my 1/1s are 6/6s.
Yeah, it really can act a little bit like a Crater Hoof in some ways, which is cool on a 2-mana 1/3 flyer that just kind of like kept you safe. I think it'll keep you pretty safe in the early game too, is in that like you have a fetch land, it's a 3/3, can't really swing into you. I think landfall decks, it's kind of a shoo-in because with multiple land drops or the ability to Splendid Reclamation, Escape Shift, that kind of thing, that obviously becomes explosive enough that, you know, I think this deserves a spot. My question was like, is there any place besides landfall decks that you think this goes? And I was trying to think of like, maybe there are some combat-based decks where the threat of activation on fetch lands and some stuff like that, or just pumping your creature when you play your land drop for a turn, allows you to get in. I was thinking like Felix 5 Boots or something like that.
Like Edric?
Yeah. Oh, it'd be so good in
Incredible
Edric.
with like a bunch of 1-mana 1/1 flyers, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that answers my question where it's like maybe it also goes in decks where it's like I really want to deal combat damage.
Yeah.
And this plays with combat in such a way that my opponents have trouble blocking either through actual just pumping or threat of being able to pump.
Yeah.
And that gets me what I want. So maybe that's the other place it kind of goes.
It being in green and blue is a little awkward for those kind of things. That's like more of a blue-black style.
Yeah, or even red.
Or blue-red. But it's really neat. And I think a lot of people are going to look past this card. And when it's on the battlefield, you're like, well, I can't attack because then they're going to turn.
Yeah, I can't attack anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
because you're like, well, I've got like a professional face breaker. Usually there's like somebody that it's inconvenient. And you're like, no, there isn't.
But also you can make deals too where it's like, hey, that's the arch enemy. I will pump your creature so you can get in to help us kill them too.
Which is sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's all the things I like about Octavia on a little bug. More bugs.
More bugs. All right. The next one is Horizon Explorer. It's 2 and a green for a 2/4 creature insect scout. More bugs and more lands.
More, yep.
Yeah, landfall decks are getting a lot in this set.
For sure.
It says lands you control enter untapped. So a little bit of Amulet of Vigor.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you attack a player, just attack, not combat damage, create a lander token.
What's a lander token, Josh?
Lander tokens are new in Edge of Eternities. It says you pay 2, tap, and sacrifice this token. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle.
What?
Except for in this case, it would come into the battlefield untapped. As long as the Horizon Explorer is still there.
This is also in the World Shaper Precon. We talked about it a little bit in that episode, but definitely wanted to bring it up here in case you didn't watch that episode. The card's really quite exceptional. Lander tokens are in the main set. They show up a lot. A lot of them are like ETB, you make 1.
Yeah.
So they're not a thing that, they were pretty careful about it. They don't want you to make like dozens. And this one
could make dozens. Yeah, because you can make up to 3, right?
3 in an attack, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not often that you can attack 3 players, but like that is what you can do. Even making just 1 a turn is pretty good because the untapped thing makes a big difference. They sort of suddenly cost 1. Mm-hmm. You pay 2, sack it, put the land in untapped because of the other ability, and you get a 1 mana rebate on your 2 mana.
Yeah.
And a 1 mana Rampant Growth is broken.
Yeah.
Just Rampant Growth is a card that people play a lot.
It's Nature's Lore-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get a non-basic, obviously, but it comes in untapped is like the big thing about Nature's Lore is it's pretty free to cast. And the fact that you can do these at instant speed, I think, is what makes it really, really good.
Yeah, because again, you hold up your other interaction or whatever, and then end step before your turn. Cool, didn't have to do any of that. This gives you those other options that you're always looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, cool, I'll just crack 2 of these things.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'll crack 2, have 2 untapped lands, and then crack another one. Seems good.
It's quite good.
That's 3 extra land. I mean, you have to have the lander tokens, but
you do have to get them, but like,
doesn't seem that hard.
It doesn't seem that hard. This reminds, if it's in a landfall type deck, you're making a lot of tokens. Is like typically how those decks win. You're like, okay, I attack you with 1 Scootsworm bug at each thing, and I make 400 more in combat after I've attacked.
Well, yeah, and then when I get the lands, they make me more creatures because they make me 4/4s or something.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing I keep thinking about is if you store a bunch of them for 1 turn, where you're like, okay, I play this on turn 3, I attack with like my Sakura Tribuilder, I get an additional 1, crack Sakura Tribuilder, and you just sort of like bank these until you play Rampaging Balos, and then you go crack, make a ton of Balos all in 1 turn.
Pretty good,
and now you've like stored stuff for landfall for later in the game when it's good.
Yeah, you basically have landfall on layaway.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I'll use it now. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's another card where it's like, okay, landfall decks.
Yeah.
It for sure goes in there.
Yes.
It's doing everything landfall decks wants to do. Does it go in decks that aren't landfall decks? Because it has a sort of the Animus quality to it. It is pretty good to just get extra lands and play almost any strategy that you're in.
Yep.
If blue had Rampant Growth, it would probably play it. So this gives that ability. Obviously, you're already in green, so you can already do some of this. But is it good enough in decks that are like kind of generally attacky?
I mean, I would think so. Like if you're playing the Edric deck that we're talking about, this is incredible, right? You attack 3 people, you get 3 lander tokens, you thin out your deck. I think if you're in a deck that can reliably attack, like Wolfgar, for example, is the Ishin that everybody
attack
forgets
doubler.
about. It's an attack doubler. So now your deck is designed to attack 3 players, and now you get 6 lander tokens. You don't have to spend them now, but that's a huge amount of value for a deck that wouldn't normally have this same kind of reach. So I think if you're in an aggressive green deck that's trying to like curve out with creatures, this is also really good.
I think it might also be able to see play if you're in a Tchotchke Artifactocrats deck, just from the fact that it's making tokens, that are artifacts on a thing that you can repeatedly do every turn. So anything, those kind of decks are usually in for like, hey, are you going to make 2 artifacts just cardboard artifacts that are going to go on my board per turn, yes, I want that.
Yeah.
So I think
hold
you
up
could also...
a food, a clue, and a lander token.
Yeah, exactly. And do I want to draw a card? Do I want to put a land in play? Do I want to whatever? It gives me options, and I'm fine with any of those options. I'm also just fine that it adds to the amount of stuff I've got.
Yep. Taps for mana with Jaheira on the board, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention this is just lands enter untapped, which is a very, very powerful effect. Like,
yeah,
we
didn't even
talked
talk about that
first
part
line.
of it. But that incidental value of that is actually pretty good. Now, you don't generally want to play a card that only does that.
Right.
Just because the accrued value over doing that 2 times in a game, 3 times in a game is not that high. But the fact that like, oh, I really want this other thing, and I just happen to get this is pretty great. All of a sudden, like your bounce lands coming in and play untapped. There's all kinds of situations where you're like, oh, this changes, at a base level, what I would do this turn because I can make these 2 moves and have this thing come in untapped.
Yeah.
You know those turns where you're like, I just need 1 more mana. You often can get it through that kind of ability.
Not to mention just like big ramp spells, like we've been talking about Splendid Reclamation, but
you play that with this out.
Like Traverse the Outlands is one that you would play in like an aggressive green deck probably, and it searches for lands equal to the power, but it costs 5 mana. But if you have like an 8/8 in play, this is net positive. Like you get 8 lands, they come in untapped. Now you're up mana. It's a pretty absurd ability for you to have incidentally in the deck. So I think this is a real supercharger type of card. Let's keep it going. I like this one a lot because it says attack. Speaking of Wolfgar, this is Long Range Sensor. 2 in a red for an artifact. Whenever you attack a player, put a charge counter on this artifact. And 1, remove 2 charge counters from this artifact. Discover 4, activate only as a sorcery. Remember, Discover is Cascade at home, but you can put it into your hand if you'd like.
Yeah, it's Cascade in certain ways a little bit worse, but in certain ways a little bit better too.
Yeah.
If you hit a counterspell or something.
You get to put it in your hand.
Yeah.
So this is great. I mean, it's good in a lot of the same things that we were just talking about with the Horizon Explorer. So if you're attacking 3 players reliably, this gives you a great way to benefit from that. I would probably... Like I saw this and immediately thought of my Pia deck, which you've played.
Yep.
It's very good at attacking 3 players. It benefits from casting from exile. And if there's a board wipe, you're like, oh, bummer. Well, I'll just remove a bunch of counters from this and fill up my board again. Like recast Pia, pay 1/1/1/1, make a ton of Thopters, you're fully rebuilt.
Yeah, I mean the rate's really good. 1 mana because it's a Cascade and Discover are weird, right? Because you do get the card advantage. You kind of drew the card, but you played it too. Yeah. So 1 mana to get stuff directly out is very powerful. Yeah, I think the only requirement is just you have to be able to attack players. Like if you're a deck that's going to attack and is normally like, if you're able to attack at least 1 player every turn and that's just, your deck can just always do that, then this is probably pretty good.
Yeah, you only put 1 counter on it, so it's every other turn.
You want to be able to do more,
4.
But yeah, I think you want to, your hope is that I can attack 2 players.
Right.
But like that's harder to guarantee.
Sure.
But like my deck always can attack 1 player is a pretty good bar. And if you can, then I would say this is probably pretty good because that means 60-70% of the time I can attack 2 or more. Then if you can attack 3, this is like pretty insane.
Yeah. I've always found that like it is difficult to guarantee card advantage in red aggressive decks.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to cheat on mana a lot of the time if you're getting like you're paying 1 mana and hypothetically getting something up to 4, and to get card advantage, not selection, but you spin the wheel, you get a random card is pretty good as long as you're attacking. So I think this card's great. It's also in the proliferate deck, so I guess if you put 1 counter on it, you can keep proliferating and keep it's good cascading that way. But
it's good with proliferating. I like what you said. I think the one of the big downsides of like a red style aggressive deck is you commit a lot to the board, and then somebody board wipes or gets rid of a bunch of your stuff, and the recovery process can be tough. And that's what I like about this is, I've stored up these counters, and it's like, cool, you board wiped or whatever, and the activation is so cheap that as long as you got counters on it, you just go, okay, I can sort of immediately rebuild probably. Just like remove 2, remove 2, remove 2, remove 2. I got like 4 things out.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of back and recovered and that can be a problem with the red aggressive decks for sure.
Definitely.
Because even if you had card draw, you're just like not a ramp deck, so you often are like redeploying just less stuff than everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to stay in the early game as much as possible when you're like if I built Go-Go with a lot of Cascade built in because you need it's just like a way to rebuild a board very quickly.
Yep.
So this card's really cool. I hope we see plenty of it. Again, it's in the counterintelligence precon.
All right, the next one we kind of alluded to earlier. It's called Moonlit Meditation. It's 2 and a blue for an enchantment aura. It says enchant artifact or creature you control. The first time you would create one or more tokens each turn, you may instead create that many tokens that are copies of enchanted permanent.
Right.
So get this on your Exalted Sunborn.
Ew, that's the token doubler we talked about before. Now...
If you stick it on that...
Okay, so if you get it on that, you make 1 token.
You'd have 2 Exalted...
You make 2 tokens because of the Exalted Sunborn.
And then 2 Exalted Sunborns, so you have 3 now.
Right.
And just make any token now, and you make a bajillion tokens.
Yeah.
It's because only first time each turn.
Each turn, yeah.
Yeah, but whatever the next token you make, you just make a lot of them, but they are whatever they were going to be.
Cool.
Unless it's instant speed, and then it says per turn, so you could do it on the next player's turn and make,
3
one more
times.
token would be 3 times 6, 12?
If you make 1.
We're both like, so if
Wait.
you'd make 1, you'd make 2, you'd make 4. We can do this. So it's 8. You'd make 8 more and you'd have 11 at the end of making 1 token. I mean, it's over.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's
like
insane.
the next time you do anything. And by the way, they're 4/5 flyers with lifelink, so you don't actually need any other plan.
Nope.
Just like, I just made those. Yeah.
You're like, deal with this right now.
Yeah.
This is a very Feast or Famine card. This is a very fun commander, big splashy thing type of card. It's sort of like a single-use Brutaclad type of thing.
It definitely goes in Brutaclad.
Definitely.
Yeah. And there is that certain type of deck. It's not super common, but it's in the mold of Brutaclad where it's kind of looking to make one good token.
Sure.
Like there's the token decks that are like, I don't care, 1/1s, whatever they are, I just want a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's another kind of token that's just like, I want bigger tokens. And then there's a deck that's like, I want to get a copy of a real card. And then from there, I'll do a lot with that one thing I made. And this is that last thing. It's whatever it is, if you find a cool non-legendary or artifact or anything, then, I want to make 7 Gilded Lotuses or whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Mystic Reflection, of course, of Essex. There's a few cards that are like this, and they all do really cool stuff in Commander. So,
But they are Feast or Famine because you go to do it and somebody goes, cool, kill that thing.
Yeah.
And you're like,
you can't really enchant your best thing on the board because if they kill it, you're just so blown out. It's disastrous.
Unless you're in a situation where everybody's tapped out or you have some sort of protection and you're going to make the token right after you cast it. You sandbag it for that perfect sequence.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So be careful with it, but if you get it off, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you get this next one because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ouroboroid. That's what it is.
You just did it with so much confidence. That I have to believe that's how it's said.
I don't know. Ouroboroid. 2 green for a 1/3 plant worm. Nice. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is this creature's power. So you spend 4 mana for a 1/3, you go to combat, you put 1 counter on everything, including this. Then next turn, you put 2 counters on everything, including this.
And it's 4.
And it snowballs. But the more you can buff this creature's power, the better it is immediately.
Yeah, and it's going to go in 1/1 counter decks, right?
Right.
So presumably you will have ways to put counters on things, and this could be the thing you choose to put the counters on, in which case it could be really scary really fast.
Yes. If this enters, if you have a tribute to the world tree, I think it enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and then you go to combat, put 3 on all of your stuff and can attack. That's a big overrun. That's a big change in board very quickly, but it is definitely a build around. You need a way to buff this immediately to have that big explosive turn, and you need the board to support it.
Yeah, so there's 2 things going on. You need ways to buff it, and also you need to be in a deck that's going to play enough creatures. I don't think you need to be making 100, but that's regularly going to have 3-ish creatures on board. Because if you play this by itself, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to spend 4 mana for a 1/3. That becomes a 2/4. And you're like,
But if you can play it, you've got another creature or 2, and you immediately put an equipment on it, that could be good enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's definitely going to be explosive and one of those things where if we don't kill that, we'll die in a turn or maybe 2.
Yeah.
it will be one of those cards for sure.
Cannot be ignored, but definitely a +1 counter deck. Go wide, some way to buff this thing.
The next one's cool and interesting.
I agree.
It's called Pain for All.
Cool and interesting.
2 and a red for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control.
Okay.
When this aura enters, enchanted creature deals damage equal to its power to any other target.
The red bite spell that can go face.
Yep. And then whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to each opponent.
Oh, stuffy doll.
Yeah.
So we've seen this kind of effect before on like Fiend Lash or Blazing Stun Steel. Those are both the equipment that kind of do the same thing. This is the first time on the aura. And it's really cool that it like comes in and does something right away, because a lot of these decks can be kind of finicky where you're like, I have a lot of things and I want all my pieces to attach and they're all permanent based and they're all expensive. But the fact that this comes in, hypothetically removes the thing, then from here it's just gravy.
Yeah, that's what I like about it is it's a removal spell on the front end, right?
Yes.
It just deals damage. And it could be a player removal spell. If you've got a decent sized thing, it can kind of in a fling sort of way. It can go face. But you just do need removal spells and interaction in decks. And the fact that you can turn your interaction into another piece that maybe fits in somehow with whatever strategy you've got going on becomes quite good. I think in like enraged type decks that are dealing damage to their own creatures, I've talked many years on and off about the Stop Hitting Yourself deck, which this goes in that mold, obviously. Like you said, you compare it to Stuffy Doll, which I think is apt. And if you could ever cast this at instant speed, so if you've got like, a deck that has Vidalcanori or that kind of thing in it, then all of a sudden this is a pretty good combat trick in that like play it, kill something, it gets hit, does a bunch of damage. It could be pretty explosive too in those cases, but it's pretty specific.
Yeah. Not to mention if you have any additional aura synergy, you're like, okay. AD has a Stangg deck.
Oh yeah, I played against the Stangg deck
that
a few
makes
times.
copies of auras.
Yeah, this is really good.
So it enters, kills a thing. When he attacks, it enters again, kills another thing, and you can't block either Stangg or everybody takes damage. Like that's pretty sweet. So there's a lot of like, I think this card's cool. I think it goes in pretty narrow decks, but when it's on the battlefield, it's going to be doing really neat things.
Yeah, when you find the right spot for it, it's going to be like, you're going to feel cool, and everyone's going to be like, what is that card?
Yeah, and then you get to say, pain for all!
They'll be like, what is doing that?
I want to do a whole podcast episode about the question, what is doing that in Commander? Because I do feel like it sort of defines the era of Commander that we're in, is like, okay, everybody stop. What is doing that? Kill that. All right. Pain for all, very cool. This is emotional pain for all. It's Planetary Annihilation. 3 red for a sorcery. Each player chooses 6 lands they control, then sacrifices the rest. Planetary Annihilation deals 6 damage to each creature.
So this is like updated Wildfire, which is 4 lands and deals 4 to everything, right?
Everybody sacrifices 4.
Oh, okay.
So it's inverse.
You can tell I don't really play Wildfire.
Yeah. Nobody does.
Because it's mean.
So this is very interesting because it's in the World Shaper Precon.
It's in a Precon?
This is in the Precon.
Interesting.
So everybody's looking at this Precon and going, is this mass land destruction? Does this make the Precon automatically a 4 on the brackets? And is this card appropriate for casual tables? And I wanted to, I don't know if we're going to have time to do a full episode on it, but I did want to talk about it because it's a very interesting discussion. Going down to 6 lands, it's still plenty of lands in my head.
You're not stopping people from playing exactly.
Right.
What you're probably doing is equalizing and hurting the players that got extra lands into play.
That ramped a ton, right.
Which for this set specifically feels like it makes sense. You need some sort of counter to all this landfall mumbo jumbo that's going on.
It is in the landfall deck.
Why would you ever play it in a deck that was sneaking out extra lands? You're the player that needs to be kept in check, not the player that needs to check people.
It's a land sacrifice deck.
Oh.
So
it wants lands
to go to the graveyard and it has a lot of ways to bring it back. So there's a lot of very interesting things about this card. Because when I look at it, I did the same thing you did, which I was like, well, this feels like it is Wizards' attempt to design a card that answers the green ramp decks. And it's in the green ramp deck.
Well, and it makes a really good point. When you think about the green landfall style decks, they often have multiple cards that allow them to play lands out of their graveyard. So they're not even as hurt by something like this as you would think.
Right. We've been talking about Splendid Reclamation all day. Crucible of Worlds all day.
Well, then that brings up the question, like, who's mad when you play this?
I don't know.
Everybody is the answer. I mean, it just is like, and right or wrong, that just is the answer. Like, you'll never play a card like this, and everybody won't see it as like something that was bad for them. Even if you logically point out, you had 8 lands, they had 12. It was just
way worse for them.
It was good for you.
Yes.
They'll still be mad.
Be like, I sacrificed 2 lands, and you blew up my board.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been thinking about this card a lot. I want to answer 2 questions before we move on. Is this appropriate for casual tables? And is this even good?
Yeah. Well, the bracket discussion is really interesting. So you wrote down what I assume is
This is the definition of mass land destruction based on the article that Gavin released.
Okay, so this is a direct quote from that article. It says, these cards regularly destroy, exile, and bounce other lands, keep lands tapped, or change what mana is produced by 4 or more lands per player without replacing them. Examples in this category are Armageddon, Ruination, Sunder, Winter Orb, and Blood Moon. Basically, any cards and common game plans that mess with several people's lands or the mana they produce should not be in your deck if you're seeking to play in brackets 1 through 3.
Okay. So that is the definition of mass land destruction. It's long and confusing.
But also, you couldn't, like, it doesn't answer our question of whether Planetary Annihilation, can I play that in my bracket 3 or not?
Mana is produced by 4 or more lands per player. So in order for this to be defined as mass land destruction by the brackets, every player would have to have 10 or more lands in play.
So if I cast this on turn 10, I'm a bracket 4. But if I cast this on turn 6, I'm not.
Yes. Perfect answer.
Yeah.
In my head, I don't think that this should be considered an anti-casual card. I think if you're going down to 6 cards, you still have plenty of lands to work with. You still have the mana that you're working with. You have less, but I don't think it should be considered in the same realm of like Sunder and Armageddon, which says the lands you have, you don't. This says the lands you have fewer. And then the question, of course, is where's the line? Is if 6 lands is fine, is 5 lands fine? Is 4 lands fine?
Yeah, and I think we can say that 4 lands is probably not fine, and 5 is right in the middle and probably okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I think we could also say it doesn't matter what we say, because I would love to live in a world where we were a little less whiny about people messing with our lands. I do think some of it is bad. But I think in general, like sometimes you strip mine people and they get really mad, and it's like, I can't destroy 1 land.
Yeah.
What if it's Gaia's Cradle? I'm not allowed to do that.
Yep.
And 6 definitely feels like on the totally fine side of like we're still playing Magic, you can still cast things.
Yep.
Almost all of your deck, right? Like
every deck is designed to work on turn 6 when you have 6 lands.
Right? Like,
so it should be fine.
Yeah. But I also think we just have to say realistically, you cast this, people will just be mad and
people will be
they'll
upset.
whine about it. Yeah.
I
They'll
agree.
mass land destruction and they will be mad. It won't be justified, but that sort of doesn't matter if everyone's going to act that way.
I agree.
So it is weird to put it in precon for that reason, but
I think it is fine. And if you play it, there are going to be people that think it is not fine. And that is the clean answer. Because like at the end of the day, the brackets helps you like set expectations for a game. And if you say, hey, I have this card in my deck, it is a possibility of this happening, then the expectation has at least been put out in the world, and I think that tempers some of it. Or people will be like, hey, don't do that, and you find a different deck. But
yeah, I think this and your deck and no other Armageddon type stuff, as long as you say it beforehand, should be fine, and people shouldn't have a problem with it. They might still, though, but like, yeah. It's like you said earlier, like Landfall, one of the most powerful archetypes, and one of the reasons is because there's so much sort of social pressure not to mess with that particular type of card that like that archetype becomes maybe outsized to what it should be. Its power level is just higher than what it should be just because people self-regulate from playing the cards that would counter it.
Right.
Yeah, which I think is too bad on some respects, but it's just the reality. So
yeah.
I think that's good advice. Just say if you've got it.
Yep.
And I generally think if you're playing against me and you're not playing, you're like, this is the only card I have that destroys a bunch of lands, but I do have it. Just so you know, it could be cast. I'd be like, cool, good to know, thank you. But I wouldn't be like, why would you have that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, it's okay. I think
it's interesting to put it in precon.
It's interesting that they put it in the precon. Is it good against ramp decks? I don't really think
It's
so.
a really good point. It
I don't
probably
really think
isn't.
so.
Yeah, it probably isn't.
But, you know.
It's good for the ramp decks,
It's good
not
for
against
the
ramp
ramp.
decks.
It's
That's
good
crazy.
in the ramp decks. Really? Thank you, guys. All right. We've got another cycle that we want to talk about. These are planets. This
Yes.
is a new kind of land.
the
There's
Mythic planet cycle.
They're sort of stations.
They're spacecraft land.
Spacecraft lands.
Yeah.
But they're planets. They're not spacecrafts.
They basically, they come in tapped, they tap for one color, but you can station them up to a certain amount and then they get a secondary ability.
Right.
And as we know, lands that get abilities are generally good.
Generally good.
Yeah.
There's a few things that synergize around this that we've talked about before. These are great tap enablers. If you have a commander that wants to be tapped, like Kilo, who's the face commander of the Proliferate Precon, it's great to have all the planets in. Or if you're playing like Kona, Rescue Beastie, that wants to be tapped so you can cheat stuff into play, they're great with that.
Yep. Great when it's on a land, too.
It's so free.
Not really costing you a card. Yep.
Yeah, they're like exceptional in those. I think they're quite good in decks that care about when counters are placed because it gives you a free thing to just put some kind of counter on.
This works with all will be one?
Yeah.
Spacecraft do too, but this is on a land. Oh boy. Which, as we said, no one will destroy because they're not allowed to. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. All will be one says whenever you put one or more counters on a permanent or player, all will be one deals that
All
much
Will Be One is
damage
just
to
good
target opponent, creature an opponent controls, or planeswalker. So,
It's really good with all the stationing.
Yeah.
In Spacecraft too, yeah.
Yes. So you can like tap a 3-drop, deal 3 damage to a thing, tap a 4 or a 3-power thing, tap a 4-power thing, deal 4 damage to a thing.
It's almost like all your stuff becomes like tap and deal damage equal to my power to anything.
Yeah.
That's good.
Gross.
Yeah.
If you are like removing counters from things for benefit, these are good. Or if you're playing Jordan's Xolatoyac deck that care about counters on lands,
That deck.
they're very good. The question is, so they're good if you can build around like the stationing abilities, the counters thing, the tapping thing. But the question is, are they good cards?
Are they good? Yeah, if you're playing them for their text and not for the other thing. Because I think they obviously go in the decks that are, want their creatures to be tapped or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's read some of them. I guess we're going to read all of them eventually.
Yeah.
That's how this works. All right, the white one is called Adagia. Windswept Bastion. It's a land planet. It enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to add white to your mana pool. It has station. And at 12 plus counters on it, it gets this ability. 3 and a white, tap it. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or enchantment you control, except it's legendary. And then activate only as a sorcery. So you can make one copy of one of your things that's... Well, it'd have to be a non-legendary thing. But then the copy you make is legendary, so you couldn't make a second copy of it. Well, you could, but then you'd have to sack one of them.
Right. This is very expensive for an ability that a land doesn't get until you've tapped 12 power worth of things. But that is a powerful ability to just have access to in a pinch.
Yeah, and the barrier to entry is pretty low. It's just a land that comes in tapped.
Yeah. It's a one-color land that comes in tapped.
Yeah. I think you would just have to have a few things that you would want to copy, but I mean, it seems fine. I don't think it's broken or anything.
I don't think it's broken or anything. I don't know if it's good enough for me to put in a deck as like, well, if I need it in a pinch, I have it. I don't think I would put it in unless I have additional synergy that cares about like I'm copying one specific thing, or I want to have even like decks that want to have a good token. It doesn't go in because of the legendary thing.
And generally those aren't white.
Yeah, they're usually blue or red.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time picturing the deck that it goes into, but I wouldn't be like, why are you playing that? You're crazy.
Yeah, I wish it was instant and not sorcery only, or it didn't have the legendary thing. The 2-drop X kind of make it pretty tough.
Yeah.
And we are in an era where there is just a lot of utility land, so it's actually kind of a crowded spot. So I kind of agree that like there's probably a few decks that will figure out a reason to play this, and it won't ever be exactly bad, but there will probably often be better options that you maybe quote unquote should have in place of this. Like it's probably not the optimal spot for most decks.
Yeah, unless you're building around the tapping or the counters or something like that. So Adagia I think is not great.
The next one, however,
this is the green one, which is predictably busted.
Yep. Because green, it's pretty underpowered, and they needed more really powerful things.
That's all we've been talking about today is freaking green
how bad
cards.
green is. Yeah, how bad green is.
So it's the same. It enters tapped. It taps for green. It has station. You have to hit 12. All of them are that way. And then its ability, once you've stationed it for 12, is green, tap, add green for each creature you control. Where have I heard that before?
Boy, on one of the most powerful cards of all time?
So it's Gaia's Cradle, but you have to pay a green to activate it. The thing that's about this one is that if you want a Gaia's Cradle effect, you want a lot of creatures, which make this easier to station.
Exactly.
So it's just, the cost is lower for the effect, which is powerful, and you want it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of synergy going on here.
When's Gaia's Cradle good? When you have a lot of creatures. When you have a lot of creatures, what can you do? Oh, station.
Station for 12.
Okay,
yeah. And the white one is sort of the opposite. It's like, when do you want to pay 5 mana to have a copy of a thing you already have?
When I don't have much else
When
going
I don't
on.
have much else going on. And it's like, I have 12 power, though. What am I doing tapping the 12 power?
Yeah.
So this one, it just, exactly when it's good. It is good in those moments. You can tap your board, add green, make a bunch of mana, cast a bunch more blockers. This is very good.
Yeah. It's just, like, Growing Rites of Illamoc is really good, and this is probably like a better version of that, I would say. It's on a land. It costs you very little to put into your deck. Yeah. You just play it as your land drop, and then you're like, yep, if I ever get to the point, which I should, because I'm playing this in my deck, and it must have a lot of creatures in it, then I will just make a bajillion mana with this thing.
Yep. It comes in tapped, so that's good.
I guess. You can station it when it's tapped, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you can't play it on the same turn, station it, and get 50 mana.
Yeah.
But, like... As we said.
Next turn you can.
Yeah, and it's not the same as other permanents because people aren't going to blow it up, as we talked about.
Yeah. Also, if you have a Demolition Field, which you should play in every deck, honestly, if you don't have a Ghost Quarter or a Wasteland or a Strip Mine, you should Strip Mine this.
Yeah.
You should.
Get rid of
it. Get rid of it. It will win them the game.
Well, as green, as a weak color that needs a lot of help, gets a very powerful card.
Yeah.
Let's talk about red as, probably the most powerful color in Commander, should probably get the weakest planet, right?
I agree. I think that's only fair.
Yeah.
God.
All right, so we got Caveron, Memorial World. It's the red one, enters tapped, has station at 12+, it says.
12.
Hold on, everybody. It's amazing what it says. It's 1 in a red, tap, sacrifice a land. Create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Then creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn.
Good thing, because you just tapped all of them.
It's bad.
This one's really bad in Commander. You don't want to tap 12 power and then use your Anthem effect.
What the heck? You have to sack a land too.
Why?
It already costs 3 mana and 12 power worth of stuff to tap it. I think it would have been totally fine to just make a 2/2 and give your stuff haste and +1/+0.
I feel
with
that
no sacking
the
involved.
Sacking a land is so rude.
It probably is because of standard.
I'm sure it is for 1v1. This is very powerful, but you have to stay. 12 is so much.
It's just bad. It just is. Unfortunately, red's the weakest color in the format and gets the worst of this cycle by a lot.
Yeah, this one. I wrote three words underneath this one. I just said this feels bad.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to play this card.
I don't think we'll see this one. It's bad.
Nope. Up next is the black one.
This one's very good.
I agree. This is Susur Secundi, Void Altar. It has all the things. It comes in tapped. It adds for black. You have to station it for 12 or more. And then it gains the ability 1 and a black, tap, pay 2 life, and sacrifice a creature. Draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Activate only as a sorcery. Yeah. This is a great card.
This is a card, right? You would play a card that said, 3 mana, sack something, draw cards equal to its power. That's a real card you get every time that you activate this thing.
Yeah, and I already like lands with sack outlets on it. I play high market in anything with dice triggers. I pay, if I have a Phyrexian Tower, I put it in a deck where I'm trying to sacrifice things, and those decks are black.
Yep. This is a thing black decks want to do all the time. And even if you're not a dedicated sacrifice deck, you often just want cards, and this would be a good way to get it on a very it's a low barrier to entry to your deck. Doesn't change your deck much. You put this land in. If you have enough creatures that you might be able to station it, as soon as it's online, and I've seen this thing online already, it's you're that thing is drawing 5 cards a turn. It's on this land. We can't. Yeah, this person just has a lot of cards for this game now.
And we're not even talking about like a 10 power creature. We're talking about like a 4 power creature. I paid 3 mana to draw 4 cards.
Heck yeah.
Like
you often want the stuff to die.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they're getting a benefit. It's actually helping them that it died. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like this card a lot.
I agree.
Every time I've seen it in play, which has only been a few times so far, but it has just been like very good.
Yeah. Totally sold on Susur Secundi.
All right. Well, blue.
Yeah. What should blue get?
If red gets a really crappy one, blue, as arguably the other most powerful color, probably gets like a crappy one, right? It doesn't need anything good.
Obviously.
We've got Uthros, Titanic God Core. It's the blue one, comes in tap, station, blah, 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 12 plus. Pay a blue, tap it, add blue for each artifact you control.
Oh, Tellurian Academy.
It does cost a blue.
You're right.
Well, that keeps it in check.
Yeah, no problem. There's a reason Tellurian Academy is banned in this format. It is bonkers. We have like Storm the Vault is sort of a similar one. That
one's
in blue
kept in check
and red.
Checked by the 2-colorness of it.
Yes.
And also costs 4 mana.
It does, yeah.
Like it's a do-nothing 4 mana. It's just Storm the Vault, you always read it, and then you always play it, and then you always take it out of your deck.
Yeah.
It's just not reliable. This is way more reliable.
And way freer to play.
And just...
This one's a little bit more of a slow burn, in my opinion, than the Guy's Cradle one, where the Guy's Cradle one, you can like play it, untap with it, tap all your creatures, and have a live Guy's Cradle.
Yeah.
It does feel like this one, you're going to tap like a 2-power creature or a 4-power creature at like one at a time.
Yeah, because I don't have that many artifacts yet anyway.
Yeah, and like eventually, this thing's going to come online. Because blue artifact decks just don't tend to have a ton of power on the board unless they have like a construct.
Right. Which would be really good with this. Yeah.
You tap 1 construct and this thing's live. So I just mean like a lot of their creatures are sort of ticky-tacky and like 1-2 power. So it'll take a little bit longer to station this unless, of course, you have a construct.
Yeah. It's going to be really good in the decks that want to play it. I think it's not as good as the green one because there will just be fewer of those decks. It's totally fine that this one sort of slowly, you pay this more in installment plans because it's like, slowly get it there. And by the time I get there, I have enough artifacts that it makes a big impact. Yeah. And probably wins the game more or less on the spot in the similar way where it's like, all I need is 1 turn where I tap this for 10. Like that's really all you really need. So.
Yep. Blue's also much better at having untappers, so you can use it over and over again. Blue has stronger card advantage, although green is fine to make sure that you can spend all that mana. Okay, those are the lands. Some good ones. Some we'll never see again.
Yeah, Mythic lands, as usual, pretty good. Unfortunately, red got totally hosed.
Such a bummer.
Which sucks, yeah.
Like it's Castle Embreth, which is like a fine card.
Poor red. Red needs a little help. White got a lot of help over the last like 5-6 years. Red got a little, but not enough to keep up.
All right. This next card is a Requiem Monolith. 2 and a black for an artifact. It has an activated ability. Tap until end of turn, target creature gains. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, you draw that many cards and lose that much life. That creature's controller may have this artifact deal 1 damage to it. Activate only as a sorcery. So that's sort of a lot to say, ping your creature, draw a card. But it also has an ability, if it takes any additional damage, you will draw that many cards.
In some ways, maybe make it a little bit hard. Oh, well, makes it a lot harder to block.
Yes.
Doesn't quite make it unblockable, because they'll definitely block if they're going to die or something.
Right, but
yeah, it definitely, I understand why it's activated at sorcery speed only, but like that part sucks.
It's a bummer. It would be really good at instant speed.
Yeah. And I think similar to Pain for All. No, what was the aura?
That's Pain for All.
Yeah, so similar to that, it goes in a deck that probably has other ways to deal damage to its own creatures, just kind of maximize this. I don't think it's probably quite as playable if you don't have other synergies to deal damage to your own creatures. Like, in some ways, it's kind of, you put this down, and I agree, Phyrexian Arena-ish, in that it can mostly reliably draw you a card every turn, but if somebody board wipes or something, you might not be in a position to do it.
You do need to have a creature in play for it to work.
So I would like to have some, I've got a Pestilence or a Pyrohemia in my deck. Now all of a sudden this could like go off.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need a lot of other things to make this decent, but it would be nice to have, you don't have to be a full enraged deck, but that'd be sweet. It's going to be good. Are there enraged decks that have black in them?
Indoraptor is the one I thought of.
Okay.
That's like Jamie has whenever it takes damage, like
really
players,
good.
it's wild in that deck.
Yeah. And if you have a Stop Hitting Yourself style deck, then this can draw a lot of cards pretty quick.
Yeah. This card's really, really neat. It again, does need synergy.
I like the design.
I agree. It's actually better than you think because you tap this, you target a creature, you ping it, you draw a card. It gains this ability the first time. But when you untap it and you ping it again, it gains a second version of this ability. So now the second time you ping it, you draw 2 cards because it has this ability twice. And then if anybody blocks it, you're going to draw twice the amount of damage that a blocker does to this creature. That's a pretty real disincentive.
You can kill one toughness thing.
It is may deal. You can ping your opponent's creatures, but they can have to accept it. Not to take it.
Oh, that sucks. That would have been nice to be like, and you could pick off 1 power things, and they draw a card.
And they draw a card. That's kind of
things.
cute. Yeah. It does feel like it was nerfed in that way. So it is optional to take the 1 damage. But this card's cute, and I think we'll see some amount of play in more synergistic decks.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. More draw for green.
Yep.
More draw for green.
That's a pretty good one. It's Terra Symbiosis. It's 2 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more 1/1 counters on a creature you control, you draw that many cards. Do this only once each turn. So it's a little bit confusing because it says 1 or more in the first sentence, but it says that many also. So yeah, it's 1 instance of putting counters on, but if you put 10 counters on one thing in 1 resolution of an effect, you'll draw 10.
Yeah.
But if you do that, put 10 then on a second thing, that same turn you won't because it only happens once each turn.
I want to clarify, putting counters is anytime a counter is put on a creature, moved, if it enters with counters, those are all put.
Yeah, if you've stationed a spacecraft up high enough that it is currently a creature, and then you like...
it's +1 counters only.
Oh, it's only +1 counters, not counters. Okay, good.
Yeah, gross. But it's very good with like counter doublers, like Bristly Bill, you activate, double all the counters, you're like, okay, I put 6 on at the same time, I draw 6 cards. It's really good with Hydras that like enter with a certain amount of counters. So yeah, if you cast a Hydra with 6 counters on it, you draw 6 cards immediately.
That's amazing.
It's really good with like Fractals that are 0/0s that enter with counters. I'll mention Slime Against Humanity again.
Yeah, that's great.
It's very good with Slime Against Humanity.
This is once each turn too, so if you have ways to add counters on other players' turns, this is going to get a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think the signpost for this is like, there's hardened scales in the deck, then you probably put this in your deck.
Yeah.
Because
if you're doing like 1 counter at a time,
still pretty good.
It's still a Phyrexian arena.
Yeah.
So
and then sometimes it's just like, no, but this time you draw 7.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It seems really good at 3 mana.
Yeah.
And hard to imagine you don't play it in a deck that you would consider as a +1/+1 counter deck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Hydras. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Hydras I wouldn't consider +1/+1 counter deck, but for this, it is.
It definitely is. Expel decks in green. Yeah. This is a weirdo. This is the Dominion Bracelet. 2 mana for a legendary artifact equipment. It equips for 1, and it says, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has 15. Exile the Dominion Bracelet. You control target opponent during their next turn. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the creature's power. Activate only as a sorcery. It's a Mindslaver bracelet.
So you put it on something with 6 power and it costs 9 to do this?
Well, it gets +1/+1, so it costs...
It'd be a 7/7, so it costs 8.
8 to do this.
Okay.
So it's a Mindslaver for Power Matters decks. And Voltron decks, which will have a high power thing
for free
anyway.
Too, probably, although it's equipped one, so who cares?
Yeah. The equip cost is fairly low, but you can like tutor for this in equipment decks, and you're already naturally going to have a high power something, hypothetically. So this could be as little as 3 for a Mindslaver effect. 2 to cast, 1 to equip. Exile it if it's a 14 power creature.
Sure.
Which isn't crazy.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The weird thing is, do you want this there? If you have a 14/14, do you need their turn?
I mean, maybe 14/14 with no other abilities, but like how reliably can your deck do that? And if it can, I guess this is a way to take advantage of it. I don't know. These type of effects are tough. People don't tend to generally love it when you do them. I've played my fair share of Emrakul's.
Yeah.
It's not always as impactful as you'd think it would be. Sometimes it's like crazy and they just die. And sometimes like I can't do much with their turn.
It is also like, at best, it's the equivalent of discard your hand, destroy your board, which sucks. It is not a super fun thing to happen to you. This is much closer to an Emrakul than it is a Mindslaver, because as far as I can tell, looping this is exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, it's not like impossible, but really hard to do.
Yeah, you need like ways to make non-legendary token copies of it, and then ways to return it to your hand. Like, it's very difficult to do.
Well, that's good, because Mindslaver lock sucks.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, but getting like your turn taken once is like mildly annoying, but whatever.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's closer to an Emrakul, but it's not attached to a 13/13 flyer.
Yeah, Emrakul's way better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Emrakul with this, though.
Yeah, and they don't take the additional turn. Emrakul gives them a turn after to kind of recover. This says, no, you skip your turn.
That's true.
So it is closer to Mindslaver in that way. I think we are going to see some amount of this because people are intrigued by this kind of ability, but I think for the most part, socially, this has been pushed out of the format. So the design is very interesting.
Well, I think it just won't be that insane. Mm-hmm. Like, it's less powerful than it reads to people.
I agree, yeah.
It's not like it's never powerful, but it's hard to tell. And like I said, definitely sometimes it does almost nothing.
Yeah.
So that'll also help keep it in check, because people will do it once or twice and be like, sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it sucks. I'm just going to play a card that I know what it does.
Right.
But yeah, ultimately, if someone does this to you, take a deep breath. It's fine. It's one time. Mm-hmm. Maybe you lose that game, whatever, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. I would also say if you want to buy the Dominion bracelet and you're super excited about it, don't pay $10 for this thing.
No, do not do that.
Wait.
It's not going to be that good.
Just wait. It will go down. It is not that good.
This is not going to be worth much in a couple of months.
I agree. Okay, moving on to another legendary artifact. This one is the Eternity Elevator. Reminds me of
My Nightmare?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with the glass elevator.
Great glass elevator, yeah. Well, that wasn't My Nightmare, but an elevator for eternity? No thanks.
Yeah, definitely scary. Sounds hot. And anyway, this is a 5-mana legendary artifact, Spacecraft. It has a static ability that's tap, add, colorless. So 5-mana rock adds 3. And then it has Station. At 20 or more, it gains the ability tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of charge counters on the Eternity Elevator. This card's super fun, in my opinion.
It's cool. I should say right away, because I've seen some chatter online already, just to clarify, legendary spacecraft can be your commander, but only if they can gain power and toughness on the card. So this has no power and toughness box and cannot be your commander.
Yes. They're trying to maintain sort of the creatureiness of the command zone. So if it can't have power and toughness, it can't be in the command zone.
Right.
Okay. This is a Gilded Lotus for colorless that's legendary with upside.
Yeah, or like a 1 more cost Thrawn Dynamo with all the things you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems quite good. I think those cards are, see a decent amount of play and are good. And I'm a big fan. I think Thrawn Dynamo is actually currently underrated.
I agree.
And this is, it costs 1 more, but it really only kind of costs 2 the turn you put it out. And the upside is tremendous.
Yes.
And 20's a lot.
20's a lot.
So I think your deck has to reasonably have a chance to station this, but you could do it over like a couple of turns, and the turn you tap this for 20 plus,
it's gonna be cool.
It's you mana guys are just kind of over, right? Like like you should be able to win those games or do so. Like it'll be fun, like for you.
These kind of mana rocks typically go in untapper to style decks anyway.
Yep.
So if you're playing big rocks like Gilded Lotus or Thrawn Dynamo, typically they're going alongside ways to untap artifacts. So
in which case you're mana positive on this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It also means that you could like tap a creature for 6, put 6 counters on it, untap that creature, tap that creature for 6 again, and you have 12 counters on it. So
because you got a Vizier, Tumbling Sands, or something.
Exactly.
Cura's Follower. Yeah.
So
I love that kind of stuff.
This is a very Josh card, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I play a lot of like Thrawn Dynamos and Gilded Lotus and maximize them in those ways. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that sounds like a dream. And you're right. I didn't even think about the fact that not just untap this thing, untap the creatures that station it faster. Mm-hmm. Ooh, it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big Clock of Omens set. We've talked about it a lot. Anytime you can tap little artifacts to untap a creature to station this faster, there's going to be a lot of synergy that goes on to make this 20 look a lot smaller. I would also say that station is one of those weird things that I have an idea of what it'll feel like in a Commander game. I haven't played with this kind of card in a Commander game yet, but I feel like it might be not as hard as it looks.
It's definitely a little easier than it looks. I've only played a few games because
Right.
we did the game nights thing.
Right.
And
some
I've-
practice games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've goldfished that deck a lot.
Right.
And the deck I play is Infinite Guideline Station, which does make tokens. So it obviously would have an easier time stationing than most decks. But I thought it was going to be an all or nothing proposition where
Yeah.
like most of the, like when I'm building the deck, I was thinking in my mind as if like I would want to station the whole thing all at once. And what I actually found was you do it in installments more often than you think, and that makes it quite a bit easier. You often have, I'll just tap this creature and put three counters on that.
Right.
And what it does is it says, oh, then next turn I can do the whole rest of it. And you make those calculations of like,
Right.
I'm not trying to do it all at once. I'm just doing the minimum amount that makes it easy to do in one more turn or whatever.
Right.
And so you do end up stationing much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Because you also do have cards in Commander that you're like, they can't attack productively because they're like little good creatures, but I'm also not going to block with like my Archmage Emeritus or whatever. So I might as well station for 2 here because I'm not going to block with this card.
Stationing these things that have a high station cost will happen more often than most people think.
Yeah. Well, in that
Which
case,
means
it's
you're
gonna
tapping
be-
this for 20 plus
Yeah.
more often than you think. And that's
Right.
like insane.
And not to mention more than 20.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing is you can overstation. So in some ways it could work like that Gaia's Cradle land.
yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, I have 20 power worth of stuff. It already has 20 counters on it. Yeah, but I'm just going to, like, it's better than Cryptolith, right? Like, because if it's 2/2, Cryptolith doesn't make a tap for 2 mana.
Yeah,
but
this is, yeah.
But this kind of does. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to make for a really crazy turn, and it is one of those things that if you have removal, you have to keep a very close eye on it because you can respond if they station it to put the counters on it. You can respond to that
before
trigger
they go on.
and destroy it before it gets this mana ability. Because once they cross the threshold, whoo, this is a very powerful card.
your win percentage will be very high if you ever get 20 counters on it. Like,
Right.
it's just that amount of mana just wins games. You just deploy too much stuff for the table to deal with.
Yeah.
Oh, man, with Undappers, Kior's Faller, just untap it, tap it again for 20 plus. I can't wait to do
It's
that.
a magical Christmas elevator.
I like that elevator a lot more than I thought I would.
It's pretty sweet. I love this next card. This is ridiculous.
Cool design.
It's Timeline Culler. This is another uncommon. It's black for a creature, Drix Warlock. It's a 2/2 with haste. You may cast this card from your graveyard using its warp ability. And its warp is black, pay 2 life. So I want to talk about how this card works because it's sort of hard to picture. The first turn you warp it, you can pay a single black and 2 life and attack for 2 because it has haste. And then it goes to exile, and you can cast it again for 2 and attack with it that turn. So in 1v1, this is like a pretty nasty, hasty threat
Huge pain
in
the
black.
butt. Yeah.
But not to mention in Commander, you can sacrifice this thing and re-warp it as many times as you have life for, as many times as you have mana for.
Yeah, that turn.
Yes. So
As long as you can keep sacking it.
as long as you can keep sacrificing it, eventually it will go to exile, which is honestly a safer place to keep it than your graveyard or on the battlefield.
Yeah, because it can't be exiled
Right.
again, and
So
you have a way to get it out of that exile.
Right.
Yeah.
By just casting it for 2.
Yeah, it's basically says one black, pay 2 life, activate your sack outlet,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah. It's
So whatever your sack outlet is, or however many you've got,
yeah.
it's just like pay a black and 2 life, and you get whatever that you would get for that.
And I don't want to like underplay the 2 life. That is going to eventually cost you. But this is an aristocrat's deck. You can gain this life back very easily. So on a lot of board states, this just looks like a Gravecrawler.
Yeah. Gravecrawler doesn't have the same requirement.
Right. You don't have to have a zombie in play to cast this from your graveyard.
Yeah.
So
if you have a Blood Artist and a Zulaport Cutthroat, it would be even on life.
yes.
If you have one of those, it's just 1 life. And then if you have like a Phyrexian Arena, that's just kind of
Phyrexian Altar,
then it's just kind of ball game, right? Because that
Yeah.
provides the mana to recast it and the life gains back. I mean, that's 4 cards, so it's not like broken.
Yeah.
But that's like the perfect scenario. You don't have to have, like, if it's just 1 life and you're doing 1 to everybody, if
Yeah.
you're just above them in life, you'll win that.
Yeah, but that's the caliber of card we're talking
Yeah,
about. Gravecrawler is a famous infinite combo
combos.
piece.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is Gravecrawler in similar ways. It has different downsides.
Yeah, it can possibly be better than Gravecrawler because again, you don't have the other requirements. So it can go in a lot of decks that just don't meet the zombie requirement.
Yeah.
And it's like we always say, you don't have to go infinite. You just have to go a lot.
Yeah.
And this will go a lot.
It reminds me of Reassembling Skeleton or like a Bloodghast.
Yeah.
It's very free to get back. It's very easy to sacrifice. The one downside of course, that I went to is you can't clamp it with Skull Clamp.
Right.
It is too tough.
That is a real downside.
That is a downside.
It's an actual downside. Yeah. I think the upside is big enough, and just if you have a sack outlet, you can clamp it. So that part's fine.
Yeah. But this card's very powerful, and don't throw it out with the rest of your bulk.
Yeah. This card is, any Aristocrats deck is going to want this card.
I agree. All right. Uthros.
Research Craft, another spacecraft, but this one's not legendary. It is 2 and a blue for, it will eventually become an 08, but there's more to that. I'll tell you in a second. It's got station, obviously, at 3+ counters. It says whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card, and then put a charge counter on this spacecraft. So it continues to get its own charge counters as you cast artifacts. You don't have to necessarily station it to get it to 12+, which is when it becomes an 08 with flying. But it says this spacecraft gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So presumably you've cast some artifacts along the way to get it up there, and it's, much bigger than an 08 flyer. It's probably, I don't know, like a 5/8 flyer, and then, a 28 flyer or whatever. Yeah. But you're mostly playing it, I would think, for the cast an artifact, draw a card part.
Definitely. This is Vidalcan Archmage for 1 fewer mana.
A creature, which in some ways I think is an advantage because, like I said, you often don't want it to be the creature. Now, this will actually become the creature involuntary. Like, you can't say, I'm not going to tap any creatures to station it and it'll never become a creature. Well, you're going to cast artifacts. That's the whole reason you're playing it. It will become a creature eventually.
Right.
So I can see the play pattern of this being I never tap any creatures to station. I'm trying to keep it as a non-creature for as long as I can.
And then once it is a creature, it is a huge flyer.
Yeah,
it is a threat.
Yeah, and then you're like, it's fine. If it dies now, I've drawn 12 cards off of it, and I'm just smacking you for 12, for whatever, 10 in the air.
Yeah. I mean, this is Joyer Weatherlight, Captain. The only barrier is you have to be able to station for 3 to get it there.
Yeah, which is a little bit, but I don't think too much, and feels like 3 is totally fine. How much do you consider what your commander's power is when you would think about putting this in your deck? Like, I have a commander that's got 1 power. Does that make this significantly worse than if I have a commander that's got 3 power?
I think you definitely consider it. I think it gets much worse in your curve if, like, you have a 4 mana commander. Like, let's say it's Joyer's 3, but let's say Vidalcan Archmage was your commander that's 0 power.
Well, yeah.
Then you're like, well, I got nothing. But if you have Urza.
Yeah.
Urza's a 4 mana 1/4. You cast this on turn 3, you cast Urza on turn 4, you're like, it's going to take me a second.
Well, it's station right then. It's
station right then. It goes to 1.
Untap, station it.
Yeah.
Well,
you have the construct too, but let's pretend there's no construct because I can't think of another example.
Yeah.
Shh.
I'm just saying, even if that scenario is not the worst.
It's not the worst.
That's not
You
great.
tap Urza next turn. It's 2. You cast like some other artifact creature, then you can station it on turn 3. So you've missed like 1 card draw.
Yeah, would that be enough to, like, I can't play this card in this deck, or I still should?
No, you definitely still play it in that deck. I mean, Urza can also tap for mana, and it's Urza. But shh, it's a 1/4.
Given that you have a commander, it's hard to sort of envision a scenario where, like, you're on turn 4 or 5, you play this on 3, and you still haven't been able to get it stationed.
I think the 3 is a lower cost, but it might take you a couple of creatures.
Yeah, but I don't think it's probably there. It's likely that stops you from putting it in your deck. Like, if you have a lot of artifact. Now, remember, it's when you cast an artifact, so this won't work in, like, treasure, clue, food decks.
Right, yeah.
But if you have a, 30+ artifacts in your deck, and some decks have 50+.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I think if you're across the 25-30 threshold, this is probably good enough to include for the most part. And if you're up in the 40-50 range, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree. Cool.
Cool.
Uthros, very good. Oh, I like this next one.
I like this next one a lot.
It's weapons manufacturing. I love weapons manufacturing. Clip it.
You heard it here first.
1 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, create a colorless artifact token named Munitions. When this token leaves the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. What? Any target. All right, so it makes junk. Whenever you cast an artifact, it makes you a little thing. And when that thing leaves, you can remove stuff.
I mean, for 2 mana on an enchantment, I would probably play this if it just made a literal artifact that did nothing.
Scrap, yes.
Like, if it was just like, make a artifact
Make
token,
a rectangle.
That's it. I would be like, I'm in. I like that. I need
cool.
that. It's 2 mana?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like, no. Actually, those things we make are pretty good.
Yeah. You're like, what? Okay.
They're removal?
Why?
They're a win condition?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
This card's awesome. I mean, like, the downside is you need a sack outlet or a way to use them in another thing, but, like, your whole deck is designed around that.
It's going to be so easy.
Like, this thing with Croclan Ironworks is completely insane. It gives you free stuff to sacrifice that now you can deal damage. It's great with Welder, because now you can cast an artifact, get the free thing to sacrifice, and keep your other stuff. So now you're, like, positive artifacts? Is it whenever you cast?
Yeah.
No, it's enters.
It's enters a
so
non-token.
So you make another one when, like, you weld something in.
Yep. Yeah,
so
as long as it's a non-token and it enters,
and it enters the battlefield. Yeah. I mean, these kind of decks that want extra crap are great at sacrificing crap.
Yeah. This is going to be like it fills so many roles.
Yeah.
If your plan is I want a lot of artifacts,
great,
it'll do that. If every deck needs removal, this will remove the commanders, the other things that you need. And then these decks have a problem of how do we end the game, though? This is like, oh, cool. Once you've got enough of these, we'll do that part, too. Or at least finish people off. Like, yeah, when you play Croclan Ironworks and you have 6 weapons, what are they called?
Munitions.
Sitting around. So people are going, oh, crap.
Yeah. Not to mention...
they can kill me at any time.
Not to mention, those decks fold to, like, Vandal Blast. Uh-oh. Can't cast Vandal Blast.
Yeah, I'll die.
Will die.
That's a really good point.
So it does sort of protect your... And it's a leaves the battlefield trigger. If they get bounced in a Cyclonic Rift...
Oh, it leaves?
Yeah, I just checked.
Oh, man, they can't even farewell it?
No.
It's pretty bad. So you could get to a point where, like, yeah, they can't board wipe.
They can't get rid of artifacts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is sweet. So it does sort of like lay little landmines around your treasures that say like, don't
mess with it.
Don't.
Yeah.
Not to mention, there are things that you can tap for mana from something like Urza or like Clock of Omens. They give you 2 free things to tap to untap other stuff. Ghirapur Ether Grid. They give you 2 free things for you to tap and then sack to something else later. Shimmer Dragon. They give you 2 free things to tap and draw cards. Cyberdrive Awakener. Now there are 4/4s with flying that if you kill them, they deal 2 damage to any target. We love rectangles.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite old Game Night decks is the Tago deck, which makes rocks.
Oh,
and I rarely ever would equip and throw the rocks, maybe 1 or 2 a game.
No, it's just stuff. Rocks you don't have to equip.
The munitions are like pretty good tokens.
I agree.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think we're going to seed a decent amount, and man, it's going to be a headache to play against.
It's cool.
Because they'll just pick off your good stuff, too. Yeah. Like that, just that baseline of like, yeah, I just make a couple of these, over the course of every turn, I make 1 or 2 of these, and then that just gives me shocks to throw around at will.
Yep. Now my card structure twice
and
as
you're
big.
looking at your commander being like, well, it'll just die, and if I play this key piece, they'll just kill that.
Yeah.
Until we can get rid of the munitions factory and the munitions out there, you're scared to play your important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This card's really cool. I like it a lot. All right, that's it. Those are the ones we're going to talk about in this episode.
A lot of really cool stuff.
A lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of like fun space flavoring. I love the planets. I'm excited that there's like a cool variant of lands that feel different in their own
I like the
space.
design on them a lot. And the evaluation is not the easiest because the stationing is interesting.
Right.
So
that is a different kind of cost. So before we go, we like to talk about our favorite cards that we talked about today, and then the most powerful that we've talked about today. There's a lot of options for both of those. Josh has a long list, so I'll go first because mine's recent.
I actually, yours was like on my list too, and I was like, well, good, I could take that off my list.
I picked weapons manufacturing is my favorite. Clip it.
He loves weapons manufacturing.
I love it. Manufacturing.
Card's sweet. 2 mana.
This card's really neat. It's cheap. It does something that we want to do. There's no other card that's like this. And the thing that I like about it is it does require something else.
Right.
Like there's so many cards we talked about today that are like, well, I'm the answer to my own question. And the weapons manufacturing says like, okay, we'll give you stuff, but you have to figure out what to do with it. And I think that's really fun and lets you assemble puzzles rather than just have the whole puzzle together.
Yeah, it doesn't go in every deck. Specific decks want it, but it'll be really good and fun in those decks.
I agree.
All right, I had trouble here because I had so many that I liked. Consult the star charts I considered, but I'm going to throw away because it's boring and, of course, what I would pick. Starfield Vocalist. But again, a little bit boring. Like, we've seen this card. So I'm going to say Susur Secundi Void Altar, which is the black Mythic planet that you station, and then you pay 2 life, 2 mana, tap it, and sack a creature to draw cards equal to that creature's power. Just seen this in play a couple of times, and we talk about wanting to sack creatures and that being a good thing, and the fact that you draw cards off of it, and the cost to your deck to include this card is very small.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice piece that you can just include out. Just take out a swamp, put this in for the most part, and we'll just create smoother games for you and more games where you have more options of things to do. Which something I always I rate the highest is like, will I just be able to do stuff?
Options.
Yeah. It's okay if I don't win or whatever, but the games I don't like is where I just didn't feel like I was really playing. Like everybody else was doing stuff, I just didn't get to do anything.
Yeah. If
I do stuff and somebody else wins, I'm totally fine with that.
Then
I did
great,
stuff.
yeah. I agree. I think this is my favorite of the 5 planets is the black one.
Not the most powerful though.
No. We're going to talk about the most powerful next.
Yeah.
What could it be?
Well, okay, so I picked, because you picked the clearly most powerful card.
Yes, I did.
Which I agree with. But just for the sake of talking about 2 cards here, I picked Avendo, which is Waking Haven, the Gaia's Cradle-like land.
I agree. This card's great. Cradle of Itlimoc is great and goes in a lot of decks to the point where I think I don't play it in a lot of decks because it's too powerful.
Yeah.
And I think this card is going to live in the same sort of slot. I expect it'll be pretty expensive because
it's not
a
on
mythic.
the game changer list, but I will treat it as such is what I think. I have decks that are in the 4 bracket, and this I would only allow Growing Rights. I feel the same way.
It's when it's in play, you feel like you're doing something beyond the scope of a lot. It feels not fair. And I think it will continue to feel not fair. The one I picked was Icetill Explorer. We talked about it a lot today. It just has so many pieces of the puzzle all together on one card that when you pay 4 mana, your game plan is just online. Any moment that you have this thing in play, you're playing 2 lands a turn, sometimes 4 landfall a turn. You're milling yourself to fuel this engine. It stacks really well with additional land drops. It just does everything that you want this kind of deck to do in one card. Almost to the point where if I have this thing in play, I'm not going to commit too much else to the board.
Right.
Because what else do I need?
Yeah, I'll just use this, and if you answer it, then I'll start the next plan.
Then great, I'll play something else. But it just does everything that you need. I would never put you don't want, even just putting this on the board feels like you're overcommitted.
But that's what I love about it is one card, it's going to do its thing, and if it gets removed, fine. I probably already got some value out of it, and if it doesn't, then it'll start to snowball really hard. And it creates advantage in a really incremental way that's not going to feel the same as Avendo.
I agree.
So you probably won't equate victories by yourself or others to the Icetill Explorer, but it will be the reason that they won. It's not the Craterhoof that they played or whatever, but it won't feel like that because that advantage was accrued early in the game in little increments that are hard to measure later. And I think that's cool, and doesn't always feel as powerful as it is. Yeah. But this card is extremely powerful to the point where I think it's all. Yeah, we talked about it earlier, but it's almost like if you're playing green, you maybe just play it.
Yeah. The other thing it plays really well with that I play in a lot of green decks is being able to cast stuff off the top of your library. Being able to control when your land drop is and play a land to clear the top to play something else is is a lot of control.
Right.
So, this card's great. I look forward to having it on the battlefield.
Yeah.
If you, let's go to the listeners first.
Okay.
How many episodes have we done?
All right. Well, what do you think about Edge of Eternities? Are you excited about it? What new cards from this set do you think are going to slot perfectly into your current decks? Are there any cards that we didn't talk about on this episode that you think are really good in the 99 and we maybe should have addressed? We'd love to hear about that in the comments. And it's another way to sort of get that information out there to people who are watching this episode. I'd scroll through the comments and see if there's anything out there that the community thinks hey, we really should have talked about this. Sometimes we see ones and I'm like, we should have talked about that one. That does sound sweet.
There's a lot of kind of boring cards that are just this is Impact Tremors for enchantments or for creatures and artifacts. That's a really good card, but there's also not a whole lot for us to say about it. So sometimes there's really good cards that you're you should probably put that in your deck that isn't worth dedicating a ton of time to. So leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, we appreciate our community for helping us out and adding to the content for sure.
Absolutely. If you want to pick up any of those cards or any of the ones that we talked about today, maybe you like the idea of maybe you're building Tago and want to get some more munitions, some more high tier munitions than rocks. Go to cardkingdom.com/command is a great way to support the show. Just letting them know that you're shopping with them because you came from us means a lot to us, and it means a lot to them. Plus, when you shop with Card Kingdom, they've got all of the new sealed product and singles from Edge of Eternities, however you would like to shop. If you were like me and you saw the World Shaper Precon and bought it immediately because it seems super cool, you can super cool. Go check it out on Card Kingdom and get it there, or you can get any of the upgrades from those episodes on Card Kingdom. That helps us a whole lot. Plus, they're the best. So the cards that you order are the ones that you receive in the right quality, in the right condition, and they arrive completely safe. So support the show and go to cardkingdom.com/command.
And of course, the game accessories brand that we trust our own collections to here at the Command Zone is Ultra Pro. If you go to ultrapro.com/command, you can find all kinds of cool stuff, Edge of Eternities themed stuff. They've got the playmats, the deck boxes, the sleeves. If you haven't tried out Apex sleeves, I would highly recommend them. And then now's the time, because if you've got a new Edge of Eternities deck that you're building, they have the agreement with Wizards to have the artwork on their stuff. So again, ultrapro.com/command.
And before we go, we have to say thank you to our amazing team that made this episode and all of our episodes possible. So thank you to Sebastian Salazar, Karina Cruz, Gaurav Galati, Jamie Block, Jordan Pridgeon, Jake Boss, Becky Bell, Rachel Kendra, Eric Lem, Manson Lung, Josh Murphy, Evan Limburger, Sam Waldo, and of course, Jimmy Wong.
That's right. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.